Then, welcome everyone to the FATED Connections Path of Exile Community Podcast, episode number 68. It's been a hot minute, guys. Welcome back everyone after our 2-month hiatus that was sort of unplanned, but everything fell in place just nicely, and we have a lot to talk about as we all obviously finished our endeavors in the Scourge League, at least for the most part. I mean, there will be some things that we still may or may not want to do in Scourge, get some challenges, get some items done before Scourge will be disappearing for an unforeseeable amount of time, as GGG has already officially confirmed that it's not going core for the next patch. Then, of course, we'll be talking all about the December events. We had a very packed schedule of events with Endless Delve, the Crangled Gauntlet, the Endless Heist, Atlas Invasion, as well as the Delirium Everywhere events, which were all 10-day events that started 7 days from each other in quick succession. So that was by itself already more than a month of time that we were busy with PoE. And obviously, we're going to talk a lot about our individual experiences in each of those events, but also on the whole, give a little bit of a summary of what we think could have been done better or was done well with those events, with the schedule, and how happy we are. And then there's also on the horizon already a little bit of a teaser for the upcoming 3.17 League. We don't know the name of the league yet, but we've already been told that the expansion is going to be called Siege of the Atlas, and it's as little as we know about it, it's looking to be very exciting. But without any further ado, because I'm sure all the things that I could be saying from now on will be discussed at a later point in the podcast in detail. Let's welcome our guests for this week. We got ArtCrusader and Deedledo, both some streamers who have been holding the torch for Path of Exile, as many streamers have abandoned the ending league and are branching into diversity. Deedle and Art were on the forefront and playing these events to the last drop, and actually managed to secure rank 1 Gladiator and rank 2 Hierophant in the HCSSF version of the Delirium Everywhere event. We'll just start top left to bottom right. Welcome, Deedle. How have you been? Would you like to introduce yourself to our little podcast audience here and tell us what you're all about?
Sure. So my name is Deedledo, as Kat said. I've been playing Path of Exile since open beta, jumping around. I started streaming Path of Exile about 2.5 years ago. Been streaming every day since like November of 2019, consistently, no days off. So like,
how many is that now?
781 today.
What?
Jesus.
Yeah, 781 days straight.
Not a single day dropped.
Not one. Nope.
Wow.
Every single day. Honestly, I don't mind it though. I really enjoy it. If I ever got up and I was like dreading streaming and I was like, you know what? I really don't want to do this today, I would take a break, right? Like, I feel like streaming in a sense keeps me somewhat sane as I can be, right? Like,
so it's not just really sunk cost fallacy where you're like, okay, I got this far, now I can't drop a day, but it's like you still get up every day and you're like hyped to play the game, and then as well to share the gameplay online.
I won't lie, it does kind of feel like that sometimes, where like you look at the number and you just want to keep seeing it grow, right? You'd be like, 781, can we make it to 1,000? Right? Like before it was like 200 and I was like, can we make it to a year? Okay, we made it to a year. Can we make it to 500 days? Oh, we made it to 500 days. Can we make it to 2 years? So you want to keep seeing that grow. But yes, I'm still hyped every day to come hang out with the awesome people who come and hang out with us on a daily basis, new and old alike, and play Path of Exile. Somehow I don't get burnt out in Path either. I don't understand how I don't get burnt out. People ask me all the time, aren't you burnt out by now? You've been playing like every day for like 10 hours a day for the past like 3 years at the very least. No. I always try to like keep like new projects on the horizon, like new goals, new things to accomplish, right? Because there's a lot of stuff to do in Path of Exile. And if you really just set goals for yourself to do things, that you can keep yourself busy enough to where you really don't get burnt out. Like this league for 316, my goal was to kill Maven in hardcore solo self-found because I had never done that before. So that was like my main driving goal of 316, which we did accomplish. We got that done the day before Atlas Invasion started.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Kind of close then.
Yeah, we did. It was real close because I knew like we were practicing like in standard, like just trying to get the fight down, make sure I was confident with the memory game and confident with all the mechanics. I had a character, my old Gauntlet character, which was a Saboteur, which was what I did it with in HCSSF, ripped in Gauntlet. So it was, I could basically make like a 1-to-1 character, essentially, of what I had in HCSSF. It was actually a little weaker, so I knew if I could get it done there, that I had a high chance of getting it done in hardcore solo self-found. We probably ran like 20 Maven's writs, and then like I had a couple left, and I started the stream the next day. I had like 2 or 3, and I did them both deathless. And instead of buying more writs, I didn't even say anything to chat. I just logged back over, hopped in the thing, and just busted it out. We almost
was there
did
anyone
it.
in chat who didn't actually notice the switch? It was like, oh wait, this was on HCSSF now.
No, I think everybody pretty much. If they did, they didn't say anything. But I'm pretty sure everybody pretty much knew what was happening. But we almost did it with just one portal. I messed up on one memory phase and had to log. But other than that, it was super clean fight, and I was really happy with it. Yeah.
Congrats, that's amazing.
Thanks, man.
I think I haven't done Maven in HCSSF yet. I've done a whole lot of Mavens, and I've even done a Deathless one, I think, or 2, but like never in HCSSF because I always die on the way there. But
yeah, we had that issue once too. Farming the writ was honestly quite challenging in itself because you have to run a certain amount of either 10 ways or twisteds or hiddens, and you don't want to roll them too hard, right? Because it's HCSSF, because you don't want to lose your character and lose your progress, but you want to maximize your splinters. And I was rolling some of the 10 ways like pretty difficult, like 70, 80 quant, and still only getting 1 splinter per. And I'm like, dude, this is gonna take forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we eventually farmed the whole writ and then practiced a little bit and just knocked it out. It felt really good to be able to smash that out.
I feel that's really weird. Like sometimes I roll them with like only 50% quant and I get 2. I think I actually once I got 3. It's like so inconsistent.
Yeah, same thing happened with us. We were rolling them really difficult at first, like 70, 80 quant and only getting 1. And then towards like the 4th or 5th one, I was like, you know what? I'm only going to get 1 anyway. Why am I making this harder on myself? So I rolled it like just super easy. I alt spammed, augmented, regaled, and it had maybe 45, maybe 50 quant. And then it dropped 2. And I was like, okay. So, all right, that's cool, I guess. So at that point I had 7 and I had a twisted invitation. And I was like, all right, well, if I do the Elder Guardians, I know that if I roll this just a little bit, it should drop me 3. So we got ready for that, did that, and it actually dropped me 4. So
wow.
All right, well, here it goes.
I've never seen 4 drop.
It took me like a week, I think, to farm up the whole writ.
Holy
roughly
shit.
Thereabouts. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I'm glad to hear that you did that because I actually wasn't sure. I knew that was your goal, but I actually hadn't. In my brain, the flag was not set whether it's 1 or 0, whether you actually got it done or not, because I was so distracted with all the event happenings. Before we go into the discussion of the events, though, let's welcome ArtCrusader, who's also here for the first time. How have you been, and what would you like to introduce yourself with?
Well, what's up, guys? ArtCrusader.
What's up?
I actually am also from Germany, so Germany represent, I guess. Currently still situated in the same town that Catmaster in, and we do have to get that kebab.
Kebab? I thought
Really
burgers. Burgers, Five Guys.
Yeah,
for the
or a
win.
burger. That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
I've been playing Path of Exile since quite at the end of Harbinger, I think. I played the game like a year and before that, but I logged in the first time, opened the passage tree, and was like, "What the fuck am I looking at?" So a year later, I had a little bit more determination and just stuck with it. Been stuck in softcore for quite a while, then made a switch to solo self-found and incursion, and just recently, like half a year ago, just started getting more and more into hardcore. So I took it as an exciting challenge when those short events started dropping, and played all of them in hardcore SSF. It's kind of fun. We could talk about that in a bit when we really get to that topic. But it's been a really, really fun time. And, mostly known for some scuff content, germ humor. I'm all about those weird build guides and dying to reflect recently. So that's been great. But it's only 50% my fault. Didn't know about the Val DD. So might have actually gotten to the point where I could have fought the Maven hardcore SSF, but yeah, that happened. There's a clip of that. So it's somewhere, I think.
Somewhere? Wait, what was that with the reflect? It's like half of the DD damage is reflectable, or what is it? What do you mean?
No, the joke about Val DD is, it says, if you play Ignite, you only care about the corpse explosion, right? So you keep it at level 1, meaning it doesn't deal any damage, right? So
right, you don't get the flat damage from the gem, the spell damage part.
Yeah, like the spell damage is just literally nothing, right? So I ran a reflect map, and the regular DD did nothing, right? My health didn't even budge. So didn't use the Val DD at all. Go to the boss, one map away from Cyrus. And I hit that Val DD, and I just see like 3k damage tick in every time. It's like, no, let me lock out here. No. Too late.
Oh god.
It's somewhere on Reddit, I think, but whatever.
That would have been great to watch.
Yeah, great content.
Great.
I knew it. Of course, I did it only for the content, man.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah. And apart from that, I've been dabbling with a couple other ARPGs recently. So I've been playing Last Epoch, I've been playing Grim Dawn. I've been trying out Titan Quest recently. Not a bad game at all. And getting a little bit of variety. But yeah, I think next season I'm going to actually start in hardcore instead of going with the softcore private leagues that we've been hosting these past couple leagues.
You prior to these events, you didn't dabble in HC at all. You had no experience with it.
I did a little bit of hardcore, just like, okay, I'm done with my 36 challenges. I'm bored. I'm not done with PoE yet. Let me do something that is like out of my comfort zone. And I did that like a little bit, but I was like never considering myself a hardcore player. But just recently, I really started enjoying it.
All right. I guess that's a little bit of an interesting discussion to have, because we often, when we have people from the different sides of the softcore, hardcore camp, we talk about that for like 10-20 minutes in the beginning of the podcast. What do you enjoy about hardcore as someone who's just getting into hardcore and just getting the taste of it?
I think it feels more exciting. I feel like I've always been someone who enjoys playing one character for a longer time instead of switching builds all the time. And like getting that min-max in and trying to make it the best character that I can make at the time. But when I play hardcore, it feels like every upgrade that I make is significant somewhat. You get that 100 extra health in there, and I feel a little bit more safe. And when I go down to 2k HP in a second, I'm like, do I log out now? You make these little decisions, and when you roll a map, you're not like, okay, man, this has one more damage mod than I would like to, but I play SC anyway, or whatever. That doesn't happen anymore. And you get this rush of adrenaline, or at least I still get that. Maybe it's because it's fresh or whatever. But
That
yeah,
doesn't go
just,
away. You get that all the
well,
time.
I'm happy. So, I think I actually needed that a little bit because I got burned out on SC quite a bit. Because at some point you really just start grinding out those maps one after another, trying to get more currency and more items in general. But they never fade, right? Because you never lose a character. I have to build a new one.
Yeah, there's less nuance to it for sure. Like, yeah, to some degree in softcore, people do care about making it not too rippy if they want to level, but like in hardcore, you really pay attention to every little detail in like your mapping strat and every little detail. I mean, you should at least in your moment to moment gameplay. Whereas in softcore, and that's something that I personally enjoyed as someone who mostly played hardcore all the time, but in Scourge, I went softcore trade. I can choose to, if I'm not like feeling it, to pay 100% attention. I can choose to interact more with the stream and listen more to the music and think more about funny stories to tell, jokes to make, and stuff like that. Whereas in hardcore, I don't know, I got into the habit of not. I mean, some people will say in chat that I've never been funny, but like I got into the habit of not trying to be funny or like not trying to be too entertaining, because I've had situations where that cost me my character and then I hated myself for it. So, yeah, definitely. Balor, how have you been in all this time? And when are you playing hardcore again?
Look,
never.
I literally haven't played PoE in like 3 or 4 weeks now, other than getting characters to 50 in the events.
Yeah, that means you have the perfect distance to softcore now. Yeah, we can go back into a fresh hardcore start.
I don't know if I can ever go back to hardcore. Like,
even hardcore trade?
Even hardcore trade, just because. So, one, I like to try a bunch of different builds. And I want to try them all in low budget and high budget, right? Like I want to see what a build does on 5x worth of gear, and I want to see what it does on 100x worth of gear, and I want to see what it does on 500x worth of gear. But the only way to churn out multiples of those is to have it still when you're done, and be able to sell it and turn it into another build.
True.
And so I don't get to do that if I go to hardcore again, which I did spend like the first 10,000 hours of my gameplay in PoE in hardcore. Like I'm not a stranger. I don't know. The idea now of dying and losing my character doesn't sound appealing at all. And it used to. To me, it used to seem like a waste of time to play in softcore at all. I'd be like, what's the point? You can't lose anything. And then, I don't know, something changed. I got older. I don't know. I don't know.
Is that a boomer thing now?
I don't know. Something changed. And I was just like, no, I'm done. I think what changed is there's now so much content in the game that I can't do all of the content in existence in hardcore every league. I can't do that. Not even close.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah. It's one thing I do miss about like softcore trade is just being able to just blast through endgame stuff without really worrying about it.
Whereas I think in the past, there was not enough content in the game. Like many years ago, there wasn't enough content. And I think that's why I and most people at the time gravitated towards hardcore. Because if you went softcore, you'd finish the whole game in 2 weeks. And you'd have done everything.
You could still do that.
I mean, really good people can. I can't. I'm not that good.
Sure, if your name is like Darky or Exile.
Yeah.
Right.
Steel
like
mage.
those people. I don't get fooled by the fact that I've got about 25,000 hours in PoE. I am still trash at playing the game. I know a lot about it. That's what I get
to know
by
we
on.
have things in common.
Yeah, I get by on knowing a lot, and building characters that I can face tank stuff on because I probably won't be able to dodge it if I try. Like I've got many friends that play this game, like personal friends and people I play with who are all much better players than me, that will all run all of their builds and ideas by me, and we'll sit there and I'll make them better and I'll fix them in Path of Building and I'll fix up trade links and I'll make sure the gear's all better and I'll improve on builds and stuff, and then they'll go and play it better than I ever could because I don't have the mechanical abilities. But yep.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I will say that, like, me personally venturing into software, I did notice that you need to really, in softcore, you need to, if you ever intend to go back to hardcore, you really need to keep that healthy upset about every death, even though you're not really losing anything in most situations. You really need to. I tried my best to keep that excitement and to keep that. That tilt, that inner fuck, I died.
So what I don't do in softcore is make, big air quotes here, softcore builds, right? Like generally, most of the time, most of my builds aren't like softcore builds. Like you're not going to see me running around with like 1.9k life and 2 million DPS on a tornado shot that just dies anytime it gets breathed on. Like that's not going to happen. Occasionally I'll make one, but I usually get bored of them within like 2 days. I'm like, nah, that sucks. The difference is when I made characters in hardcore, I got all the defenses first and accepted I would go slow, and then got the damage and speed later. Whereas in softcore, you build all the damage and speed first, because it doesn't matter if you die a few times on the way to level 90, because you can die once every 15 minutes on the way to level 90 and you'll still get to level 90 relatively quick. Right? So you can build the defenses second, and you can get all the damage and speed first.
Well, I mean,
my character by the time it gets there should still be like well-rounded, right? Like,
if you intend on dying, if you intend on dying once every 15 minutes, then you better invest all into defense, into offense and speed first, so that you get enough XP between your deaths, so that it's worth it.
Yeah. So that's really the only difference in my characters between when I make them in hardcore and when I make them in softcore is what do I get first? Because I want them to be well-rounded regardless. It's just, do I get the speed and offense first, or do I get the defense first? That's it.
Oh yeah, Punish Core is just being brought up in chat. That's something I really want to do, but there's like no official support for it. Like, yeah, sure, you could do like solo self-found softcore and then spin a wheel with punishments every time you die, or like have like some sort of self-imposed punishment. But what I'd really want to do is to host a private league where everyone gets tracked via the API, and when people die, they lose points forever. Right? Like you gain points by killing bosses, by reaching levels and stuff like that. And if you die, you just lose points. Every death costs you points. That's what I want to do. But currently it's impossible to track deaths via the API. You'd need to have it with an honor system or something like that. And I would want it to be automatic, kept by bots.
Yeah, people would have to put in their deaths manually.
I mean, it's not impossible. You could do it.
Yeah, you can do it. But how do you track the bosses?
There'll be a lot of housekeeping.
Well, same as Gauntlet. People have to submit
you'd
bots.
have to have a submission or something, yeah.
Yeah,
and then maybe every day you'd have to do like a slash deaths.
Well, every submission or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
If you want points, then you need to like do slash deaths, show character, and then your hit tab so we know what league you're in. Could be done. And it could give like softcore people who don't really play hardcore kind of a taste of like that mentality of wanting it to at least like not die. Because I mean, I guess even in softcore, there is a lot of people who don't like dying. It's not fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not fun. It's fine on softcore if you die once every few days in your finished build.
Right.
It's not fine if you die every second map. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah,
no one's enjoying themselves.
You're just hard stuck, and then you're feeling down on yourself, because not only that, it's like you're like, damn, I keep fucking dying, but I'm not like super shit at this game. Let's go.
That's the
And then it
perfect.
just cascades. It cascades, right? Because then, like, the more you're gonna die, it's almost in like hardcore. After a bad rip, sometimes it's best to just take a small breather and like reset for a second. Especially if it's a really tilting death, like dying to default attack on your left click,
Or dying to overpowered Scourge monsters.
or Scourge
Oh.
monsters.
Just running into map and getting one shot by boiling Striders using Cold Snap. Never happened to me.
Oh man, yeah, dude, those water elementals, they're bitches. They're man, they're so bad.
There's one thing I always told people that they had to do, and always did myself when I was playing in hardcore and had a death, which is immediately get a character to act 2. Even if you plan on getting off for the night and you're like, I'm done, screw this. Like you can be tilted off the face. Just start a character and get it to act 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you come back the next day, you've already got something moving. Whereas if you come back the next day and you go to log in and there's just no characters, it's really easy to just go, nah, see ya, and then just not keep playing. But if you have a character in Act 2, you're like, that's right, I did that. We're starting this. I have purpose. In we go.
Can confirm that it does change your mind state on leveling the character if you're a little bit away, like at least, Act 2, Act 3.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing that in the Delirium event, actually. I had ripped on day 2 to Boiling Striders, by the way. And I had previously told chat, if we rip, I'm going to be done. I'm going to be free of this shit. I'm going to be out of here. We're going to do something fun instead, right? This is pain.
Yep.
Nothing but pain. Well, I ripped and I was like, fuck it, we'll go again. I am not satisfied with this rip. This is not okay.
I had one death. I don't remember where it was, I think. But it might have been when I did my gauntlet practice run, for which, by the way, I did like a super memey Hierophant Energy Blade War Chief Totem run. And I think that's how I actually died first time I got to maps on that. I did it in softcore practice league. That was very close to the actual gauntlet mods, but not the exact gauntlet mods, since we don't have access to GMP for private leagues. And I think there was another mod that we couldn't do. Yeah, the unique monster life.
Boss HP, yeah.
Yeah, but it was actually off stream. I went to maps on stream, and then went offline and just brain AFK farmed a little bit and got killed by the cold snappers because they just came out of the ground. Like sometimes you dash, you use your movement skill offensively, and then you don't know that they're going to be there because obviously they're burrowed and they come out of the ground and they surround you and they all cast at once or in a relatively quick succession. They do so much damage. It's insane. But should we quickly, as we know that Scourge is not going core, give a little bit of a rundown of how we liked Scourge League, what we think we were going to miss about it not going core immediately, and what we're not going to miss, where we're like, okay, this I'm happy that this is not going core. that needs a little bit more work. How did you guys like Scourge League overall, now that we have some distance to it? Let's say our Crusader, you start. Give us a little bit of an impression.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to be happy it's gone, actually. I think I liked it better at the start of the league. Because I thought, oh my god, this is like the upside down from Stranger Things. This is awesome. It's like lots of monsters, and we get so many unique items, and Krangling looks really cool. And then I Krangled, and I Krangled some more, and I did so much Krangling, but I never got a good item. Yeah. Like those Krangle mods, usually you would get something that was like, oh cool, I get 4 physical reflects to melee attackers. That's crazy. That's worth having -20 cold rest. And stuff like that. I was just like, yeah, how about no? then those Crangled maps, of course, were kind of the cool thing about it. But I feel like they did so many mistakes in how they set it all up, because it got so random. There were so many people who did not have that second Crucible slot for maps, for example, because it's just so difficult to unlock somehow. Like, I remember Octavian tweeting about this. He killed like 10 bosses on T16s and didn't get it, and it's like, okay, I got him on first. So maybe it was like a 20%.
I think that the slot for the maps was guaranteed to get it on the first one, but then the one for the third Crangle slot for like items was the one that people talked about.
Yeah.
That was hard
didn't
to
get that one, right?
Yeah, that was just super random for some reason.
Right. And that's before we talk about how the balance is between the different factions of Scourge mobs and the bosses. Because there are some that are like ridiculous once you rack up, like, let's say 50, 60 stacks. There are others where you just don't care because you can just walk around them and you never get hit. We saw some beautiful one-shots throughout the league. So I'm looking forward to more creative league mechanics that actually are a little bit more impactful throughout. I guess Scourge was good during the leveling because you could always pick up like white rings and amulets or bells and put those on. And
get free alchs.
Free alchemy, right? But yeah, apart from that, I really didn't enjoy it for very long, especially for hardcore.
Yeah, I think it was really hard for me personally speaking to find a limit, to like set myself limits with how high the content is that I want to do in Scourge and how many Scourge stacks I want to get maximum and all that. So many times I would do like extremely stupid things and die, which is also probably because I played in softcore. I was a little bit less careful, especially after a bunch of deaths. Obviously, I started playing softcore with the ambition to play it as if it was hardcore, but then Scourge quickly turned that around. Where I was like, okay, this is silly. I think it was impactful. I'd like to say it did the mapping well. Outside of I didn't like it for leveling that much because it would always teleport you back to the point where you entered the Scourge realm, right? So when you're trying to level through the acts and you're trying to go back from A to B quickly, then it would be very hard to utilize it in a practical way.
Yep.
But for mapping, it was great. I mean, it basically doubled the amount of monsters in your map, and it just felt really cool in that sense. But I had some other smaller gripes. But before I talk about my gripes, quickly, Deedle, what was your overall Scourge opinion?
I share the same opinion as basically Art said. At first, it seemed like really good, and especially like on the preconceptions we had from like the teasers and the announcement, it seemed like, oh, Scourging items is going to be so good. Like, I can't wait to get in and make this awesome gear. And then like, at first, you could make like some okay stuff. Like we found out that you could throw white items in and just get free alks. That was cool. And it was like, it made the first leveling guy a little bit easier because you could just get free alks. But then once you got a little bit later on and you're like, all right, I got this pseudo endgame or endgame thing that I want to try to make better. And then you did it in like I said in chat, like add plus 25 cold res, you apply one fewer curse. It's like, how are these equal? Like, one of these things is not like the other. And I don't remember who said it. It might have been you, Kat. I don't think we were in your chat. It's like, by that logic, you should be able to flip that around, right? And you should be able to get one more curse for minus 25 cold res. So they should be somewhat equal in, what it gives versus what it takes away. But you don't see that. The downsides are incredibly punishing most of the time, and then the upsides are barely worth anything. You might get a good upside every now and again, but for the most part, it's all trash. You're not going to put something that you're like currently using in there and try to Scourge because you're like, there's a high percentage chance I could either A, ruin it, or B, get absolutely nothing from it. So after a while, I just kind of ignored the whole scourging items. Scourge maps were pretty good for farming up currency or oils if you needed them, and getting a lot of monsters. But after a while, I just kind of like forgot about it. Like I wasn't even really like pressing V or, you know, going into the Scourge universe because it wasn't that thrilling to me. Like, yeah, it was okay, and every now and again I would hit it, but for the most part it wasn't. I will say this, the easy six links were pretty poggers. I did enjoy that. I don't think there's ever been a time where we had easier six links in Path of Exile, and I will miss that. It made, especially in SSF and HCSSF, it made your character progression in maps like so much easier to just be able to 5-link 6-socket something, maybe run exotic goods a couple times, drop 5-link 6-socket and throw it in the Scourger a couple times, and bam, there's your 6-link. Nice. And then try to farm up a better 6-link eventually. But it was like, it's so much better than just trying to farm up a tabby, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely nice to have like a little boost as a reward for the league, especially since the other rewards were kind of below our expectations. But did you think that the easy 6-links via the crangled fuses are something that should stay in the game, or that's good to have permanently? I feel like that's one of those typical things where it's like, oh, that's okay, that's cool to have for one league, but it's not something that I want to see permanently.
Kind of like how Expedition was, and how you had like easy, really crazy access to like high level bases and influence gear and stuff, but it was like, all right, we need to bring that back at a lesser value. I think it would be fine, to just have in base game.
I wouldn't want it added to the base game purely because giving us 6 links is a really good way that they reward us for interacting with league mechanics. And if you keep this one that easy in the base game, even at a quarter that easy in the base game,
or 10% that easy, probably.
To be handing me a even if it was 1/10 as easy as it is this league, it would make it a lot less rewarding to be handing us 6 links from a league mechanic. I don't think it would need to be there. The thing is so Scourge League's combat in maps was my favorite in-map combat that we have ever had. I very, very, very much love the mapping experience that I got with Scourge. Regularly maxing out my Scourge stacks in maps and really juicing them up was fun and good and super rewarding. I think most of the problem is that's not what they sold us at the beginning of the league, and that's why people are disappointed. Because they didn't sell us a mapping league, they sold us items, and what we got was trash. Trash items 99.8% of the time. And whenever you say that, there'll always be someone. There'll be one person somewhere in chat or in the YouTube comment or something that'll be like, I got this one disgusting item, and look at how good it is, and it's got all this stuff on it, and it made this gross thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, they exist. Mirrors also drop on the ground, but like, I've not seen one drop on the ground. I have, actually. But the point is, they're mostly garbage. And they're not just like, oh, that didn't get better. Most of the time they get worse, or they get bricked. Like the trash, and that's what we were sold. So with it only being mapping, I just wasn't as cool as the combat was in maps, and as much as I enjoyed it, I ended up bored of the league way quicker than I would normally do, because it's just mapping. I already do that all the time. No, it was better, but nothing interesting came with it. I never got anything, and I was crangling the whole time. And I was super juicing maps, and I was doing like NEM 3 stuff and 60% delirious and like maxing out Scourge stacks. Like, I was pounding through items. I was scourging and scourging and scourging and scourging, and The best thing I hit the entire league was 57 additional evasion on a Queen of the Forest.
Huge.
That's still the best one you got. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah.
That sums it up, right?
And I'm just like, well, that's really boring. That's really boring, guys.
I gotta say, though, the Krangle currency was somewhat cool because keeping certain corrupted bases to use mythic orbs on them was kind of nice.
Mythic orbs is the one thing I think could stay.
Exactly. I was just thinking about if there's someone in chat or anywhere who is like a div card that he can still create. There's one idea for you.
Said the same thing.
All of us.
Maybe you could, like, if someone has a div card saved, that they could make a div card for mythic currency.
Maybe like 5 random of any of those, and it's random like the there's a what's the name of the car that you get from Gardens? 5 of a random
Emperor's
currency.
Luck.
And then yeah, that one. Just for Krangle stuff. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I agree.
Wouldn't be bad, but I don't think they would let people make a div card like that if they don't have any intentions of that stuff being in the game, right?
They didn't want synthesis to be in the game for a long time, and still.
What did you say? Sorry, they didn't want what to be in the game?
They didn't want synthesis to be in the game for a long time, and we still got it somewhat.
Did we? I mean, we got the boss maps, but
yeah,
I
miss the actual synthesis mapping, the memories.
The
problem with synthesis is like 90% of the people who play PoE who played then quit while it was still the most trash league you've ever played in your life. Because it was for the first 3-4 weeks. It took them way too long.
It was
and
so
then it was
long.
the best league we've ever had, but everyone was gone.
But they had the end of league synthesis flashback event, which was the best flashback event ever done. That was so fun because those synthesis zones were so small, and then you'd have all that flashback in that small zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was dense. It was fun. I'd love for them to just do that event again. It would have been amazing during this event season. But yeah, I'll echo the sentiment once again and add my own little perspective to it. What I'll say is that there was not enough good mid-tier Krangles. There were great big ticket options that 0.001% of people saw, right? The things that get posted on Reddit and stuff like that, the people that the things that people even talk about if it's a friend of a friend of a friend who found it. There was like almost nothing in the middle. I'll say though that early on, like for anything super disposable, like shitty leveling uniques like Wanderlusts or your gem, the plus flat damage vendor recipe ones, anything that you could replace and it was not a loss, you could throw it into the Krangler and eventually get something that's slightly better, and that would make an impact. Like early on my leveling ones, I Krangled them all until I got flat damages that would benefit me, with the downside of deal no damage of X kind that wouldn't affect me. So like while fire leveling, I think I leveled Armor Brand Cremation, right? And then deal no lightning damage and adds flat fire to spells was a win on top of a wand that already had tier 6 added flat fire damage to spells from the vendor recipe. I felt that was great. And that was, you could do it relatively reliably and there was not a big opportunity cost to it. But for anything like mid-tier, it was just not worth it. It was not worth the effort. Because most likely you'd get like something that's marginally better at best, but most of the time it was worse. But like for the super endgame stuff, like when you had your, double corrupted, super crafted, double influenced helmet, and you were able to afford to replace that or to craft a replacement and then Krangle your old one, there was some potentially good outs.
So here's the thing is, I feel like it was not even that hard to make it far better though. like I floated the idea, and most people liked it, that I didn't think any of the tier 1 Krangles should even have a downside at all. None of the really good stuff is there. None of it. Like you're likely to get 19 cold res or 47 evasion or like 14 life or something, right? Like they're not really good upsides at the first stage anyway. So there just shouldn't be a downside at the first stage. So everyone, no matter how noob of a player you are, or how inexperienced you are, or how time poor you are, feels safe using the Krangler the entire league, at least on something. Right? You should be able to just get a little tiny bit of something out of everything by putting it in the Krangler. And that would at least go a little bit of a way, right? And then your tier 2s should never re-roll that tier 1, right? They should put another good and a negative on it, right? Mm-hmm. And then the tier 3s go to the way it is now, where it's super risky and you could brick your item, right? Because if you want to go for the really good stuff, now you're going to take the really big risk. But that would give you like a progression system where you're like, no risk here, some risk here, but you could go for it. And then the really big tier 3 items, big risk, could brick your item, probably will, but you're rolling for that.
Oh, you reminded me of something
really
there.
Big hit, right?
You know what I really liked? I liked Octavian said that on Bayclass to the topic of the Crucible passive point system. And suggesting what other passes could have been in there, because I think Octavian didn't really like it that it was like a linear thing where you'd eventually get everything. He said that was a big missed opportunity in terms of customization, that like there was no incentive for people to build different Crucible passive trees, and that could have been designed better in that way. And one thing that Octavian suggested there was they could have made it so that you can keep on crangling tier 3 crangled items for a 50-50 chance of receiving new tier 3 mods or deleting the item. That would have already gone a long way to making it feel better, because even if you brick your item with bad tier 3 crangle mods, you'd have the chance to go again and with a 50-50 chance, maybe get a useful pair of mods or delete the item, which, deleting the item wouldn't have been much worse than keeping it with the bricked mods.
Oh, in a lot of cases, it's exactly the same. Cold iron points, you deal no physical damage. Well, I guess we're 50-50ing that again. Right? Like,
well, cold iron point with deal no physical damage, you can still use for carrying golems.
True.
Yeah. True.
Or conversion. No, you can't.
No, because it says no elemental.
It has no deal, no elemental.
Yeah.
Just convert to chaos, easy.
I know, because I crangled about 30 of them, and 27 times hit added elemental damage as my positive on them. It's like this, I give up. And some of them were really good numbers too. Like it'd be like 40 to 80 fire damage, and I'm like, man, like that's a lot of flat, but it doesn't do anything.
I think the main issue with like crangling items is that like it seemed like what they promised us in the beginning was far more powerful than what we got, because it seemed like maybe a week or two before the league launch, someone was probably looking over and was like, this is too powerful. Just think of the things that could happen. You could get a +4 shavs. We can't have that. And they brought it back and they nerfed it some and gave maybe heavier downsides, but they did it too much, right? Like when they brought it back, and I'm just speculating here, I don't know that this to be the case.
I mean, that happened in the past with like Betrayal with the unveiled mods. They showed us in the trailer, they showed us mods that didn't make it into the final release.
+1 totem on a chest or something like that, right? Wasn't that one of them?
Something like
or
that.
Additional curse,
on.
some stuff like that. So I think that's what happened. And it's like, who cares if a +4 shavs exists? You could already have a +3 shavs. You could technically have a +4 shavs now, so you could maybe have a +5. So you get one more level. Like, what's the difference? I think that's really what happened.
I'm like, when things like that happen, like let's say you get dumb lucky, you get +2 on your Scourge on an item that you already double corrupted to get +4 on, you could end up with +6 shavs. But that'd be so rare at the price of that. would balance it out quite well. Like it'd be suddenly you've got the 750 Exalt shafts. And no one else is going to have that.
And it would be risky to do, because not only do you need the double corrupt and get +4 on a bunch of shafts,
breaking it.
Then you have to risk breaking it, which you could already sell a +4 shaft for what, 100, 150, 200, depending on the
maybe 200, yeah. If it's the right +4, 200 for that. And then you're risking bricking it in the thing. Like, that's a big risk.
That's huge, yeah.
I just think it comes down to GGG not putting enough time and effort into testing. Because, hear me out, we've had so many releases last year where there were things that were just fundamentally wrong on first sight for many of us. Remember Absolution before they buffed it? Where they oh yeah, you know what? We're going to add 300% more damage to it as a modifier so that it actually balances out, right? Like stuff like that. It just happens so much recently, and I
then
feel
also you didn't get the refresh on what was it, rares and uniques.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just fundamental things that were just awful and wrong. About skills and league mechanics as well, as it seems, because one issue was the way they balanced out the tier 3 mods. The other thing was the mod pool, which was so big that it was already unlikely that you're going to get something that would be beneficial for your character or any character for that matter, right? At some point you don't really care if your item has 20% extra cold res. You get those from good items anyway if you have a decent item level, right? So it felt like at some point they should have started culling that list of modifiers, especially on the positive side, because no one cares about getting reflect on your item. If I have a chest, it's 6-linked, and I crangle it, I don't want a downside of apply 1 Fear Curses, and then on the upside, I get attacked by monster. I reflect 4 physical damage. Wow, this is going to... My build is 3 DPS, now it's 4 DPS.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, they're basically all explicit mods on items are an upside to items, but then in order to have some upsides and downsides, they added those mods like Reflect. But with something like Crangling, Reflect should definitely not be in the upside pool, because it's essentially like a non-upside. It's not a downside, but it's like a wasted mod, right?
Absolutely.
It makes sense that it's in the pool for explicits. That's what I was trying to say. I guess I couldn't have phrased that better. It makes sense that, you can roll those non-mods as explicit mods on items, but in the sense of Crangling, they shouldn't have been in the pool to begin with. I agree.
All right. So, speaking of GGG not putting in enough work.
I didn't say that.
Well, I did. How about...
You said that.
How about every single one of the events that we just had, I am disappointed with, and I feel like a very small amount more work on each of them made them fantastic.
Oh yeah, totally. Let's get into that, but let's quickly
some way. Yeah.
Let's quickly summarize the Scourge topic before we go into that. I totally agree, Balor. 100%.
Good. Scourging items shit. Maps were pretty cool.
I think the question would be, if Scourge does go core in a future league, what do you think would need to change, or in what capacity do you see a place for it in the core game?
Geez, I'm no game dev.
No, but from a gamer point of view, what would you enjoy Scourge to be? Because certainly not like the way that it is now in the game, but do you see a place for it? Do you think it should only be Scourged maps that you can drop, and other than that, there should be no Scourge? Scourge currency, we already answered that. We could see that being a thing if it's very rare, right? But Or what would you be happy if it just never comes back? Would you be like, well, I don't mind if it just disappears in the void forever and GGG gets to reuse the assets, the art, the 3D models, the sounds, then we're happy with it?
I would actually say I would like to see it come back at some point, but I have the stance on how League mechanics should look like, which is it should add some value. And that's where we have an issue, because you can't just make it a 10% League mechanic that, is like Breach or Abyss. You run those and you always get something. You get extra monsters, that's XP. You get splinters for your Breach stones. That's a great mechanic, right? Because there's a progression and you always get items and such. Now, the issue with Scourge is that you have this Crucible thing where you crangle an item and it takes time to build that up. So they would have to come up with something where you have an immediate impact. And that's like a design question on how they want to do it. And I'm just trying to ask myself how that will look like. And I have no real answer to that. But the mechanic in and of itself is not bad, I would say. Just having it balanced around being a thing that you don't have permanently on your maps will be very difficult and challenging to implement. So I'm not sure if I have full trust in their ability to really put that in there.
All right, so you're not sure. Okay, now please, one more sentence.
No, sure.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. That's what I said.
They made good things in the past, like Bestiary, when it was a League mechanic, for example. I didn't like it very much, and they managed to turn that into something that is now really great for the game.
Sure.
It used to be really bad.
It was really
I played
bad.
Bestiary.
Yeah,
it was terrible. Oh, you deal too much damage. I'm sorry, your beast is now gone. Don't you
the
have
point
nets
they had to
exile?
bring out necromancy nets mid-league to bring
Right.
back freaking
shit.
dead beasts. Yeah.
I still have some of those on standard trade because I
Same.
used to be trade Andy.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, great. Okay. So you're not sure, basically. Summary. Deedle, what do you say? Scourge core or not core in the future at some point? And what would need to change?
I think if they dropped as like random maps from time to time, it would be kind of cool just to have Scourge maps drop. But then you run into the situation where like you do have like, if you're scourging items, well, I guess like it's hard to say. It's hard to say from my point of view. If you were going to have Scourge maps and you were going to have the Crucible slots still, that like, you might see it just far too like not enough. You wouldn't see the scourging enough to really try to finish an item if you were going to do that. And I think the scourging modifiers, the scourge modifiers would have to be drastically reworked. Maybe not drastically, but at least improved upon.
Okay.
And if I've heard this before, this is not an original take. I don't remember who said this. I think it was his. It said, if you're in a Scourge map and you fight a boss and they drop like a unique or they drop like the rares, then there should just be no downside. It should just be just straight upside.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
The randomness should be, it might be a shit upside. Like it might,
or it
just
might
be
be
that
a
47 evasion.
Or
right?
it might be a shit base or a shit unique.
Yep.
And you just have to, you get a Karui ward, or well, you could use a Karui ward, or you get a Veil of the Night with 27 cold res. There you go. You tried them.
That's 5 hit. Yeah,
Right.
sure. How do you see fit for it, Balor?
Look, I had a plan for this too. I have a plan for everything. All of my plans are shit, just so that I've got that out there before the comments do. I wanted them just the Scourged maps to drop pre-Scourged. I want no Crucible. And I wanted also for the tiers to be random between 1 and 10, but only starting at tier 6. So you could only first get them in yellow maps, and those could only be tier 1 Scourged. But in the tier 7 map, it could be a tier 1 or it could be a tier 2. In the tier 8 map, it could be tier 1, 2, or tier 3 Scourged. And I wanted them to be roughly as rare as Guardian maps are, and to only come from the bosses of maps.
That sounds
So
really,
you
really
Oh,
get-
like a
you would get
synthesis.
some of so you like Guardians or synth map bosses or whatever, but I would like them to only drop from map bosses of yellow map tier and higher, and to be randomized of their tier within from yellow up. So the only way you would ever get a tier 10 Scourged map would be in tier 16s,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then only have them no Crucible, no nothing, but then you
No
still get the
Crangled
ones that are
items
like,
either.
no Crangled items, no nothing like that, but you still get, this thing drops 5 scarabs per rare. You go, oh, Pog, look at this. I've got this fantastic scarab map that I get to run one of. And like that would be the reward for it. And that would be all I would ever want to see stay core of it. Just 3 Crangled maps set up in a good way.
Yeah, no, I think
And
I
it would
agree
still
with
be better.
your take on the maps. I also don't want Scourged rare items. I'm fine with double Scourged uniques dropping from the boss. That would be great. It's just fun, and it adds flavor and it adds excitement to the drops. And most of the time, like 90% of the time, you get shitty uniques anyway, right? So it doesn't really impact it too much. I've not seen anyone drop shafts from a boss with like a double Crangle implicit or something like that. I just feel like on a regular rare item, we already have implicits, enchants, explicits, and all that stuff. I feel like the additional section of Scourge modifiers it's too much bloat on the item system. I really don't like it. I would very much like the maps to still be a thing, and I also don't think that I don't want a Crucible. I know. It was cool for the league to have like a little bit of a progression to the league, that the league mechanics gets more rewarding and better to engage with as the league goes on. But similar to how I think I wasn't a friend of the idea of having heist gear when heist goes core, I don't think there should be too much progression in those systems once they're implemented in core, and once they're not the main thing anymore. Other than that, I do want to quickly repeat what Tenki said, because I thought that was a pretty good anticipation. It may just be completely wrong speculation, but Tenki called that Scourge is actually the replacement for Beyond. Beyond has already been confirmed at ExileCon by Chris Wilson to be something that they want to get rid of in the future, and they need to replace it with something. I think that's also what they said, because Beyond is basically just bandits that are reskinned. And I could totally see Scourge being the replacement for Beyond once Beyond leaves core. And probably this year. I mean, we'll probably see it this year that Beyond is removed from the game, I would assume.
My favorite mechanic.
Yeah.
I hope they kill Torment before that.
What?
Same.
I hope they
Ghost.
kill Torment.
God,
I hate Ghost, by the way.
Oh, Torment. I thought you said I hope they kill Tolman before it. I'm like, Tolman
So
is
did I
already
at
dead
first.
since Act 3, dude.
I thought he said that at first too, but then I thought about it for a split second. I was like,
Yeah. Screw the
Tolman.
accent.
Yeah, no,
Torment, the most worthless league mechanic we still have. Wait, no, we still have those amulets, talismans.
talismans. You know what could fix Torment though? You know what could fix Torment? Just make
Easy
every
fix.
ghost a seance. Just like it is on the Atlas passive, when you choose seance, make them the mobs already touched and already possessed. You don't have to chase them into anything, they're just there.
Or just alternatively
I want
buff
that to
their
be a
action
map
speed
modifier.
by like 300% and give them actually meaningful HP values so that they don't instantly drop dead, and maybe let them
No.
pass through walls. But that
Give
would
them
be too hard.
meaningful AI so they're not stupid.
No,
Yeah,
just
true.
add them as a map mod. Remove the ghosts, just add the influence on monsters, and
Yeah,
it's going to be fine.
I think that would be good.
Yeah. In that case, I will look over having matter monsters on the map. You hear a big boom and you're in for trouble. Fine. we have that. Otherwise, it's not like PoE is a stranger to one-shot mechanics.
I was gonna say, as much as I hate martyrs, like I think it depends. If you're
They
playing a
serve a
range
purpose.
build, they don't really matter. But if you're playing something that needs to get up and close,
Have
then
you heard about
it's
Flicker Strike?
I can't play it. It makes me motion sick. I can't play it.
Also makes you dead if you jump into a martyr.
So what was it? Delirium Everywhere. I was running Armory because I kind of lived in Armory and something else. Quick story before we jump into the event. And I was running into a room and it was late. I was tired and like I just barely seen like the green flash above one of the monsters' heads, and I ran back out. I was like, that could be a martyr. And sure enough, they went poof, poof. And I was like, that would have killed me. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's great that there's something that you have to be afraid of that slows down the game, and that you know it has a visual cue, it has an audio cue. You get the sound when the monsters explode, and you usually have a chance to back out. But I love it for tormented spirits to have more of an impact than just the martyr, because all the other ghosts, like most people don't even know them by name or what they do, because they're so irrelevant, because they die before they can do anything. And like you said, like, I don't know whether you were sarcastic or serious, but like, just give them AI that's actually meaningful. Just have them be actually trying to impact you in a negative way. And don't have them be like tools that just run away from you, but like have them be smart, have them be vicious. Yeah, have them be like, oh, I want to kill this player, I'm going to possess these monsters, and I'm going to go into that rare because that's the one that has the sub-fizz and the extra damage and the powerful crits, or something like, you know, like have them be smart and try to actually kill you. And that's something that I really miss about the game, is that the game actually tries to kill you actively. That's something that's been going away more and more, and is only found in forms of really unfair mechanics, like the flame golems from Scourge or something like that. Yeah, those feel like they want to kill you, but they don't feel like a fair challenge, because I can shift into Scourge and instantly get blasted by like 2 packs from left and right. And where's the counterplay there? Like, you know.
Yeah. I actually killed my my Inquisitor recently that had like 6k life, like 4k energy shield, bunch of regen and curse immune and ailments immune. Bam, you're dead. Like, what happened there? No damage mods on the map either. Just done.
All right. Then that's that topic. Bam. Balor had a gripe with about every event leak that we had.
Events. Yeah.
Oh,
rapid fire. Right. Balor started off on Endless Delve.
All right. Real quick, before we start, generally speaking, I'm really happy with GDG. They do more work than everybody else and any other game company I have ever seen, which is why every single event we had was so fucking disappointing this time, because they've set the bar so high, and then they looked at that bar and went, oh, it's only 2 steps away. This is close enough. It was this close. Every event was this close.
The entire schedule also was this close.
And it was super obvious. So here's how it went. All right, let's go through them. Endless Delve is just Endless Delve. That was fine. That's nothing. We've already done that one. That's not a new event. Nothing was wrong with it. It's just Endless Delve. The Gauntlet was Gauntlet. Zizaran does that. That's not to do with them. Then we had Endless Heist. Obviously never got tested. Took like 8 hours to get to level 50. Ridiculous. Took them 3 days to buff the XP to make it runnable. They needed to buff the XP. I mean, that needed to already been there. If one person tested it, it would have been. If a single person tested it, it would have been. It was ridiculous. By the time they buffed it, most people weren't playing that anymore. They also needed to make gear drop at low levels so that you could start gearing your rogues. 2 little changes. That was it. It would have been a fantastic event. That's how close it was to being good. And instead of that, it was bad. Then, moving on, we had the Atlas Invasion, which I thought was the most excited about. I was the very most excited about Atlas Invasion. It was my absolute favorite POG one that I was super excited about because of one reason. Every boss, I thought, was going to drop its uniques. I thought there were going to be people linking Watcher's Eyes in Act 2. I killed Elder. 9 times while leveling and didn't get anything. And it wasn't until the end of day 1 when we realized that not a single person had got a watch design, not a single person had got any of the unique loot from any of the bosses. They weren't dropping their uniques. They didn't even have a chance to drop their uniques. And even when you got up to tier 16, like appropriate level maps, they still didn't drop their uniques. And that is all it needed to go from a pretty meh league that wasn't really that fun as it should have been for more than about a day to being fantastic. It was voided. There was no reason not to have that. It's a voided event.
Yep.
It's this close. It was this close. Every single one of them was this close.
At least give them a chance to drop, right?
Right? Then moving on to Delirium, which was the one I was the second most excited about because it seemed really fantastic. And then we find not only do we not have reward tiles, we only have the one random reward tile that only shows one tile. If I'm in a 40% Delirious zone, there should be 2 tiles. Because there always is. If I'm in a 60%, there should be 3. Also, they're fucking static. And for the last 9 years, we've had rotating zones in events every hour. Yes, everybody's ledge is the same this hour, but next hour, everybody's ledge is different. But it's the same. It's just different than it was an hour ago. It's been rotating. All of the old things did that. We already have that. You already know that's the thing that we like. All the old events did that. Why didn't this one? And why didn't we get the good reward tiles? Again,
okay,
it's
I agree with everything you said.
There's no reason to not give us all of the fun and all of the rewards for a voided event. They were all so close, man. They were all so close.
I agree with everything you just said. You raised some very good points, but that last point about Delirium is something that specifically I discussed a lot on stream, and I'm not sure it would have been better if it's not static. I actually really liked the static model because
same.
It did change in the act progression and in the maps what was a good map and what was a bad map. What's a good zone for farming, what's a bad zone for farming. You had to factor in the Delirium. If it hadn't been static, then you would have just waited until the good zones had the good Delirium values and then you'd farm those. Whereas like this, there had to be a shift in how you approach your act progression and your map progression. And like having it change hourly...
No one ever waited in the past when we had hourly changes. It would be a race to hunt for the next place that was good. If you were comfortable in about 60% with a good reward tile, you would be looking for stuff around 60%. As soon as it ticked over to the next hour, you'd be like, run quickly into as many maps as we can get. Let's find where the good reward is. There it is. Here's where we're going.
I'm not saying that wouldn't have been good to have. I'm not saying that what you propose wouldn't have been a good event as well. I'm just saying that what we had is not necessarily worse because it's different. I personally appreciated that they did things different on that one. Just to provide a little bit of a different side to the opinion, because I think a lot of people are like, why is it static? And I'm like, I kind of see why it's static, because if it wasn't static, then it would be completely different in the effect that it achieves for the gameplay, right? I actually really enjoyed that. And it also
slim down your maps that you're even contemplating running. Like, for me,
and that's the great thing about
Baldos, and I lived in like 3 different maps, right? It was like Wharf, which was a little bit higher, but still is a decent layout with an okay boss. Armory, and what was the other one? Promenade. Every time a Promenade map dropped, I got so excited because it was a T16. It was 9% Delirium with a good layout and an easy, like a decent boss. And it was in Valdos. So I could farm up my sulfite, and basically Endless Delirium kind of just became Endless Delve 2.0 with a little bit of mapping.
Yeah, that's one strategy for XP. That's true. I mean, in the Delirium event, I got to 97 and 50% XP with 40 maps completed. I'm just going to put that out there. There were a couple bad eggs in my basket because, initially, I think I completed Estuary, which was
Same.
a mistake in the long run.
I did the same. Did
and
a couple
a few others.
Arid Lake I completed, Canyon. So like at the end they started dropping and I really screwed that up, you know. I did the same thing.
Same. And I think randomness in PoE is a great thing. I think it's fantastic that we have so much RNG in the game. But for a competitive event, especially since we were like competing in hardcore SF, I think it's only fair if everyone gets the same layouts and therefore the same delirium percent. But
to be fair, though, that was not what Balor was vouching for. Balor wasn't saying it should be random for everyone. It should have been the same for everyone, but what Balor wanted is like hourly switching like they did in the Mayhems and Flashback events.
Yeah.
Just to be clear for everyone. I'm sure you got it, but just to be clear for it.
Yeah. But everyone having Tukuhama with 92% delirium in Act 6 means there's a challenge in the way and everyone has to do it, and not one person does it with 20%, the next one does it with 100.
Exactly.
Right? Or you have to wait.
And also the entire conversation that you guys were having just a second ago, which maps are good, which maps are bad, that wouldn't have happened if the maps changed on an hourly basis. Right. We wouldn't have been relating to each other in terms of, mineral pools was like 60%, that was really bad. And
That's wrong though, because these people, we had this conversation. People had this conversation once during the event. Which maps are good? These are the good maps. There you go.
It was a 10-day
Instead, it would have been a conversation at the top of every hour. I've got 3 days from solo self-found hardcore races, flashbacks, turmoils, things like that, and there was, in all of those, little groups of people. Like I got 3rd place Hierophant in a Mayhem event, right? In solo self-found hardcore Mayhem. And the top like 5 Hierophants had their own little group chat, and we were working as a team at the top of every hour to work out which map we should go to. Like we'd be like, I'll go here, I'll go there, you go there, you go there. Everyone tell me what you got. And there's this whole like community, and then we would be like, all right, it's Estuary. Estuary is boxes. Everyone get into Estuary. All right, cool. And then that'd be 15:15 by the time you work that out. And then we'd spend 45 minutes pumping Estuaries out, and the whole lot of us competing, and then we'd be like, oh, the hour's up. What do we got? I launched Estuary and forgot, and now it's Tormented Spirits everywhere, and there's 20 of them. Let's get out of this map. And it was just a lot of fun.
I'm not saying that that is a bad style of doing the events. Exactly. I appreciate that, but I also appreciate them doing it differently for once. I really like the fix.
You made a really good point earlier, Balor, when you said that just a tiny little bit more work in each one of those events could have made them amazing. And I think for the Delirium event, they only needed to do one thing. And that was scale up the rewards depending on how much delirium was in each area. Because for me, it did not matter one tiny bit, except for maybe how many simulacrum splinters I got. Like how much delirium is in an area, except for, okay, if I do this area with 90% delirium, I'm going to get less XP per hour. And the next guy after me is just running 15% maps. So why would I run this one? Right? But if I had gotten, like, let's say 2 or 3 different rewards from that same map, even if they're all miscellaneous, that would have been fine, right? Because I would have been rewarded for it. But we got 0. We got nothing, right? It just felt, most of the time, we got like a couple extra rares that would just drop randomly when we were killing things, and that was it, right?
The other thing that was just brought up in chat, which would have made a big difference, was the way I described it. That was the default. That's what pretty much everyone expected, because that's how it's always been done. If you're going to change the stuff to be static, they really should have told us that all maps were going to be static the whole time. Because I don't remember reading that anywhere. I don't remember reading that anywhere. It was
static. Yeah.
Right. But that's static that's the same term they used for the other static way, where every zone was static for an hour. And they were never explicit that it was different from the only way we've ever done it before. So I went in expecting the thing.
Said something in a weird way that I think could be interpreted a few different ways. Let me see if I could try to find the post about it.
But I don't know. I think at the very least, it would have been worth making a very big deal out of it being very different from normal. right? Because it's just, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, maybe.
It seems like some people, at least, it can't just be you two. If there's more, there'll be more people who liked it this way as well. But
I'm not saying I like it better than the other. We've seen the hourly switching model so many times that I like to see something that worked differently. And it would have been interesting. And I think this is a perfect segue into the other event discussion. Is like, I think it would have been great if they just didn't do a 10-day event, but if they just did 2 separate 3 or 4-day events instead. And then they could have experimented with different rule sets for these. Because I also think that Endless Delve or Endless Heist as 10-day events, that was just too long. No one wants to play anything endless in Path of Exile for 10 days.
Right.
Like AFK.
That's a great point, because I think it was really unfortunate that this overlapping thing with 10-day events, where one starts on Friday and it ends on Monday, and the next one starts a couple of days before the other one ends. So let's say you wanted to play the Gauntlet event, but also you wanted to play the Heist event, because you were like, there's some weird people like me who actually like heisting. I know they're few and weird, and I know what you're gonna say, but I like heists. I'm gonna take the blame for that, but yeah.
Listen, I'm super happy that somebody likes Heist, because I like buying all the things that drop in Heist. So I really need some people to like running it. So you're not going to get any flack from me, because I don't even want to go to the Rogue Harbor. So I need people in there.
Well, see, you got to start HC Trade then, because that's what I'm going to be playing next season. No, but seriously, it was so unfortunate, because I feel like a lot of people would have liked to participate in more events, but felt like they had less incentive to do so, especially if they wanted to compete. Because if you want a demi in one event, you couldn't get it in the other, maybe because other people would have 3 days on top of you. And I could have actually gotten 2 demis during those events, but I had this very unfortunate thing happen in the Heist event, where my Chieftain with Cremation and Max Block and 50k armor and 8k life ripped to Reflect, because I can't read.
You and Reflect, man. You
I ripped
a
to
theme
Reflect.
going here.
Yeah. It's kind of my thing now. And the worst thing being, I did it off stream, so that was.
Oh no, that's the
worst. So I only had like a screenshot to show, not even like a 30-second replay.
It's like the only thing that's good about dying in hardcore is that you've made content, and you skipped
posted
the
on
content
Reddit.
part.
Look at me! I'm a stupid streamer. Laugh at me.
Right. All right.
It's only like a screenshot that I shared on my Twitter, and
here's the other thing that was just brought up in chat that I have to agree with. There's no way they didn't know earlier that they were going to delay the league. So now we have the whole of January with nothing, and we had 2 events starting on like New Year's and Christmas.
Yeah, spaced out a lot better.
If they wanted to do 10-day events, they could have done it the same way they did them in the past. I keep saying this because we've done events before hosted by them that went really fucking well. Well, we had like Turmoil and Mayhem events back to back, and they were like, they're really good and they're 10-day events. So there was one that would start, it would run for 10 days, and then there'd be like a 3-day break where there was nothing. And the next week, the next one would start. And if they spread them all out like that, we'd be running an event right now.
True.
And there'd be one more event to go, starting like next week, and then we'd have a league announcement trailer, and then league hype, and then a new league.
Not only that, but you wouldn't get so exhausted.
Yeah, there'd be breaks
really
everywhere.
Exhausting if you want to run those events.
Nope.
Getting some sleep before you go hard again.
It just it really feels like this whole event thing was like put together by an intern.
Everyone else was on break already, Balor.
Yeah,
you gotta
they were on holiday.
Man.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just Chris in the office silently putting together those events.
I also feel really bad about it, because like I'm super, super into and excited and happy with all of the GGG devs generally. Like, I'm generally defensive when people are upset with them. I'm generally very, very happy about everything that they give us. It feels like they always give us 100 times more than any development company ever does. And then this just whole event is it's all just left me super sour because it really feels like they just took 2 steps in the direction for every event and went, good enough. And it just like one day to extra to work on all of the events combined probably could have made them all. They were all so close.
See, I have something I can compare this to, because I just as you said, I want to agree. I'm a super big GGG fanboy, but that doesn't mean like that I'm closing my eyes when I see something that is obviously wrong and where I'm obviously like, okay, that you could have noticed that. And this is something that we haven't mentioned about Scourge. And this is something, if Scourge goes core, like with the shifting mechanism, this really needs to 100% change. Fucking Scourge needs to have its own button keybind. Because the fact that it shares the same leak key. Dude, like, you don't even need to be a good player at the game. You go into one map and you stand on an expedition and you put down your fuses, and then you run out of fuses and you accidentally shift into Nightmare and then you die because there's 20 golems around you. That's so mind-boggling, and that they completely abandoned this league after like the first 2 weeks, where they did make some nice changes into the right direction, but then they didn't continue pushing for it. That just
how they could have fixed that, by the way? If they had no cooldown on you shifting out of Scourge again, so you could just panic hit it.
Yeah, you could directly
but
panic
they don't let you do that.
Yeah, true.
They blocked the button for a couple seconds, actually, because they're like, well, F you, man. You clicked it. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, like you don't need to play Scourge a whole lot in order to notice that something's amiss with the key binding and with how the shifting works. And the fact that was never addressed, I don't understand. I mean, you shouldn't be armchair developer, right? Because you never know what's in the code and like how hard it is, like intertwined with everything else. But to make a separate keybind for a new leap mechanic, that can't be that hard, right?
They did it for Delirium.
Well,
Delirium has its own keybind to end.
Yeah. But wasn't that always like it? Wasn't that?
No, they added it later. Actually, at the start, you only had you could end it manually if you hit the button.
If you hit the button,
and a couple of weeks into the event, they added that actually, and it was already set up to be in the options, so you could set the keybind to whatever you want it to be. I feel like they should do that more often. Although all our keyboards only have so many buttons. At some point,
the game has a lot of keybinds.
3.54, like a couple leaks before PoE2 launches.
I like your 3.54, implying that we get another 40 leaks before 2.0. Before
That's
PoE2
why I said that.
4.0.
I mean, we got 7 delays already. Like, I don't see why. They wouldn't at this point.
No, but like why I brought this up is not because I wanted to complain about that again, because I'm sure I've vented about it plenty times on streams and people in chat recognize that. I probably brought it up on the last podcast as well, but it's been 2 months, so I don't know for sure. But I really wanted to drive that home again, so it's good that I brought it up. But the reason I brought it up was not to drive that home, but because it's a metaphor. It's a bigger picture. It's like I see the same pattern in these events, where the heist event, like you said, Balor, if someone just test played that for or maybe a group of people, maybe one person alone would not be enough, because then you'd feel like you're doing something wrong. But certainly if you play that for 8 hours, you realize that you're gaining XP way too slowly. And another thing that hasn't been mentioned with the heist, I think that's one so obvious, I'm actually surprised it hasn't been brought up more, is why do you not have access to the bosses in heist? Why is that on endless heist and you can't do heist bosses? Like endless delve, and you can do delve bosses. You can do all the delve thing, but endless heist, all you get to do is like heist contracts and blueprints, but you never get to do the unique bosses that a lot of people don't do in the regular game because they don't like engaging with heist, and so they don't do the quest chain, which is a prerequisite. And again, like, it's a voided league. Why not give people access to things that they? I'm so puzzled by that. I still don't understand. There must have been like some sort of super hard technical limitation for them to be like, we can't let people do the heist bosses in heist.
No, they could definitely have done it. But here's the thing, right? It would have taken more development time, and they just said it was probably just like what they did with the Battle Royale thing they made for an April's Fools, where they said, okay, this team gets 1 week to work on this, then it gets passed to the next one. They get 1 week. And if they're not done, then they're not done. We're going to put it out. It's going to be scuffed. Well, that's the joke, right? And I feel like they did the same for these events, where they said, well, you're going to go on holiday break, going to like all be out of office. Don't put in too much work. Just give them something, right?
Mm.
And I think that's how that happens.
Yeah. I want to be sympathetic. Like, I'm not a developer. I don't know. Maybe making my invasion bosses be able to drop Watcher's Eyes is like 3 days worth of somebody's coding work, and it just wasn't worth it. Like, maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't know how any of it works. I can't code Pong. I can code Pong, and it takes me about a week. So maybe, I don't know. But it just, all I have is consumer side, and it just not happy with any of it.
You brought up Atlas Invasion, and there was this particular thing that made me hate the event, actually, because I was trying to get through it in HCSSF, and there was this thing with Chevron from Act 9, the ghost one, which was just completely busted because she was not downscaled. So and now imagine you play HCSSF. You've been like, oh my god, I grinded up this character for 2 hours. Now I'm in an Act 3, and my character's doing so well with all the bosses. Finally, we could go through and get some maps, guys. And then you walk around the corner, and there's effing Chevron one-shotting your ass. You have no chance despite being lightning res cap.
I have a theory on this.
Back to the beach. And that happened to me 3 times, Balor. 3 times.
Why
fix Chevron
that happened.
during the entirety of the event running.
You know why I think that is,
one
though?
Time.
Does she have pen? I think it's pen.
I don't know. I don't care. I was dead, okay? The one time I get through to maps.
Too.
Okay?
She killed me too.
I just got into tier 5 maps. I was just so excited because finally we're doing maps. We're doing fine. What happens? There's a ghosted child spinning around the corner and one-shotting me before I have the time to log out. So yeah, that was my Atlas Invasion experience. It was great.
I got double penned. I got double penetrated by Chayula in the crematorium in a dead end. So I feel your pain. But I think Shav has, I never looked this up to confirm it, which I probably should have, but I think that those explosions have pen, and since she has more pen, like, in later, and it doesn't, like, the pen wouldn't get scaled by damage scaling down, I think that's what it was. I think it was pen, but I don't know for sure. It's just a theory that I've never really checked up on. And maybe it was a little bit more difficult for them to scale something with pen than just damage scale.
You mean that because there's no inherent pen scaling, as monsters only get like inherent life and
just a value, right?
Damage scaling per level. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it being hard to implement it. It's just probably an oversight.
Yeah.
That one I can understand more though than the other things that we brought up so far.
You said there is, or there
ball
isn't?
lightning. The ball lightning has just an average of 4k base lightning damage, and that's that.
All right, well there goes that. Thanks for fact checking. It was just something I thought about and why it could be like that. And I do think like, all right, so they put out these events and they were like, all right, we want to keep these people happy. They knew that 317 was going to be delayed and they were going to be on holiday. So which would we rather have? I mean, obviously we want it to be good from the start. And if they would just play tested it for maybe a day, like Balor said, if all these things could have been most likely worked out. But do we want 317 to be perhaps delayed further for them spending resources on these events? Or do we want them to be able to spend time on 317?
I think that's a disingenuous argument because I think that makes you think that those are the only two options. But those aren't the only two options. We got given like 5 events. Okay, don't do 5 events, do 4 events, but do 4 of them properly instead of 5 of them shit.
Yeah. Not that I think that that's how it is. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for a second and kind of look at it a different.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just, like I said, I only have the consumer side of things. Like I really don't understand programming. Like I don't know how any of this works. I'm not a developer.
Same.
I haven't been this disappointed before. And it just happened over and over again. Like I was like, the next event, it'll be good though. Like it was just this one. And then, this one's also bad. I can't believe they've done this. But don't worry, because the next one will definitely be good.
It'll be great.
And then it fucking wasn't again.
Opium.
Yeah.
And then
the point is, though, it doesn't matter if you know programming or not. It really does not matter because at the end of the day, you're there to be entertained. And as a streamer, I think you want to have entertaining streaming content to put out on the platform. And if you're all the time just mad because there's something that's going to be bugged, I think it translates to a worse experience overall. And that is not in their interest. So I do hope they learn from this series of events because the idea was great. I was very happy they put out something over the holidays, and I've been critical of what they've been saying, but I'm actual shrimp for GGG. I love everything they do. PoE is my favorite game. And I was just so elated that they would just give us some content besides Scourge because I was done with that. I was playing Grim Dawn, I was playing Titan Quest, I was playing LE, you know? There are lots of games out there, but
I'm playing League.
Like whatever. You know? I just hope that the next time this kind of stuff rolls around, they're going to take a little bit more time and be a little bit more careful because I think they can be excellent.
I really hope that what they don't take out of this debacle is that people don't like it and we shouldn't bother doing it again. Rather than we should do a slightly better job.
Yeah.
Because I really want them to do those things. Even if it's not every league, I really want them to do them slightly more often. I really, really like that it was a thing and I want more. And I really just don't want it to go the opposite way when they're like, that was a pretty negative reaction. How about we just don't do events again?
How often do you want events?
You know what? I'd be happy if it was every second league. That would be fine.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like twice a year, once big summer events and once big Christmas events.
You know what I really want back? I want the race seasons with like the shorter races back.
Yeah, I'd like a lot more shorter races.
1 hour headhunter and endless ledge and descent champions and
cutthroat
2-hour winter heart and medallion, all those things.
Hot take, I don't think they want that format anymore because it promotes people picking up the game and leaving again after they're done, where like they want people in for the long time investment so that they sink more time in it. But
that's what you have seasons for. Those events are for fun when you're done with the regular content.
Yeah, but
already.
Didn't people do that kind of with the events anyway? With these events?
Or people just go in for the chest.
Yeah, right. I played, the only one I played past level 50 was the invasion one. And I spent the entire day, which was like copium, being like, no, these uniques will drop. They're just not guaranteed. No, these will drop. Okay, they haven't dropped it. Look, they'll probably drop when you get to an appropriate level. I'll just get into red maps. They'll definitely drop them. It's the only thing that kept me going.
And what did you get out of your boxes? Anything good?
No. I got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got two. That Pegasus pad, I got it twice.
Wow, I got one.
Then I got the Siren Aura effect.
I got that too. It actually looks cool, but it covers up too much. Like it covers up the ground underneath you, so you don't see ground effects.
Well, my character looks like a UFO anyway when I put on my purple MTX, so I don't care. And then I got 2 Hideout Decorations, so I guess it balances out.
Pile of rocks. I did get wings and a cloak, but I don't really wear back attachments too much. So even though I got pretty lucky with 2, I guess. And then the aura effects, pretty cool too. But like I said, it kind of covers up your ground around you, and I don't like aura effects or character effects that do that. I didn't get just a pile of rocks, at least, which was an option. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Yep. I mean, that was actually an option.
Maybe it's a nice pile of rocks.
I think I'm happy with those boxes. I'm glad that they do that. That's great for the game. They handed out so much stuff. Like they really went big on these events. That's maybe just highlight something positive, and something that was really well done was the implementation with the Twitch drops and handing out so many high quality microtransactions that I mean that was like everyone who grabbed everything. I mean, getting to every event to the 50 is a box, so 5 boxes plus 1 box for Christmas for opening the store, which is like 6 boxes, and you got 5 portals from each of the events. Maybe you won one of the raffles. I'd say that's like if you had to buy it, that's more than €20 value per person, right? Easy, more than 30.
And they were
40
nice portals. Yeah, they were good MTXs actually. Too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they helped us
one of the free
as
ones.
streamers. As streamers, it helped us, with viewership as well.
Yeah. I mean, they shoveled a lot of viewers into the directory. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even if they were just lurking, I mean, everyone loves lurkers.
Hell yeah.
Sure. Some people stick around, even better. But like talking about that in particular, I've seen a couple negative reactions to that too. Like I was so confused to see people be mad that they put free stuff on Twitch of all places. I was like, okay, sure. I mean, it's free promotion for them and it's free stuff for you. I don't see any problem.
And it's completely free to join Twitch.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to watch. You just put it on the tab. You forget about it for an hour. But yeah, like some
people get mad or complain about anything.
I mean,
about free stuff, basically.
Yeah.
It's an obvious trade. They're trading for exposure. They want the game to be highly listed on Twitch because a lot of people are watching it. Because that gives them a lot of people like looking at the game and being like, "Hey, I've never seen this. I want to play this." And obviously, people who start the game and get super invested, those are the biggest potential customers because they don't have any stash
get things in return.
Yeah. And you got to consider, especially at that point of the season, right, where viewership drops anyway because people get less interested in the game, just waiting for the next season.
Yeah. So I think from a marketing PR standpoint, like it was really well set up, and like I'm really happy. The only complaint I have in that regard, or that overlaps with that, is the schedule. I personally don't think there should be overlap between the events. Actually, much the opposite. I would prefer if there was like a 3-day break instead of the 3-day overlap between the events, so that people can play the entire duration of every event and then recover and go again. I think it was a little bit cramped, especially in regards to, like now nothing happening until the next league happens. I know that it's cool to have a little bit of a downtime before a new league because you want people to recover and then get super hyped again. Don't want to be burned out right when the new league drops, but I think stretching the events out a little bit would have gone a long way. And definitely want to echo what you guys said again, that I love events. I want events more often. I don't want them to take away the just because we criticize it so much, I don't want them to think that they shouldn't be doing them. Just try and tweak it and keep doing it like you do with the main game, and eventually we'll always end up in a good place. I think the game is much better than it was like a couple of years ago on the whole. I mean, there's always some gripes, obviously, that I have with it, but I'm an enjoyer.
It's getting bigger.
And there was something else I wanted to say, because we were talking about MTX and I saw my gameplay with the Bane in the background. I actually bought this Project Chaos Skills MTX set because I had points lying around from a gift, and I really liked the green Bane and the green Blight, but I have to say on the green Contagion, really odd. I noticed that only a while later because I was playing Bane Blight instead of Essence Drain Contagion as originally planned. It doesn't have a circle. It's just the weird like biohazard symbol in the middle, but the Contagion like doesn't have an actual circle, so you can't tell whether like where it's still in there. Like, I don't know, it's kind of odd.
It's weird.
Yep.
Yeah, but there are a couple of Contagion MTX that are vague like that. The first one that I bought was the Celestial one, and I had to stop using that and instead go for the Arcane one, because the Arcane one is a blue circle.
The Arcane one is a visibility like revelation. It's like so good.
Absolutely.
The entire Arcane
and it's so
set.
much better than the default one. And then you look at Celestial, which normally I love that kind of MTX, right? Celestial is always beautiful. You have these nice colors, spacey. I kind of like that, right? But for Contagion, it's just, I have no idea who even is affected, right?
Yeah. No, that's definitely a weird thing that the with some MTX you really get big visibility improvements, and that's I guess as close to pay to win as it gets in Path of Exile.
Well, pay to win as in having a Cyclone Sharknado effect, right? Or was that Blade Vortex?
Shark.
That was BV, right?
That's Cyclone, yeah.
Cyclone. Yeah, it's a whole nother. And Reeve, yeah. We were talking about the Reeve yesterday on Cat's channel of him playing. You can't even see base Reeve.
Yeah. And there's only one MTX for it, and it's the Demonic, and that's been added like ages ago. They need to rework Reeve, and then yesterday I said I was fine with the visibility, but they need to improve it. I agree.
Yeah, and the thing with that Reeve MTX is if you have too much attack speed, it just looks super odd. I'm not sure if you've seen a video of that, but just get some attack speed on that build and you're going to see it.
With the base MTX, or you mean the Demonic one?
The Demonic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have that one. I'm not going to buy it. It doesn't fit my build.
Yeah, don't buy it.
Lightning.
You're not going to buy it? Come on.
Nah.
You're not going to league start
Save your money
next
for the
week?
shark.
I mean, maybe someone from GGG sees how I'm playing Reeve on the stream, and maybe they write that down and are like, okay, Reeve needs like a buff.
That would be amazing if like things like Reeve or...
I mean, sometimes they rework old skills and they do something. I mean, and obviously they have like a big thing happening with the next league. Maybe they do really rebalance a lot of old skills. Like a lot of people have
really
been
hope so.
hoping for that, but probably too much hopium.
If anyone watches gameplay of your character, they'll probably think, "Wow, he could improve that character in so many ways." You gotta get there. Don't worry.
We're gonna get there.
But it's a base skill issue at its core, though, right? Like even just upping the base numbers doesn't seem to really like help it along. Because Reeve already has I wouldn't say high, but it's not a low base damage.
Honestly, I think it's probably right now in the same spot as Frostblades, where it just sucks at anything but God tier investment, and then at God tier investment, it's going to be great because the skill itself has decent mechanics.
Yeah, Frostblades could be really good, but it's not. It's got really good clear on a budget, but you're just not going to be. You're going to be killing bosses for 3 hours.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about running Frostblades is still you have easy access to Herald of Ice, and you get that clear, and then you somehow fix single target. I don't know. You can start simple and then just scale into it, and that's kind of cool about the skill and the flavor. I never had that with Reeve, to be honest. Or sweeping back in the day.
Sweep or cleave.
Yeah, there's a lot of skill. I really hope that, I mean, I don't have high hopes that, and we're going to talk about our hopes and fears for 3.17 in a bit, but I don't really, think that that's going to happen for the next patch, but I hope that somewhere down the road there's going to be another big batch of skill reworks like they did when they did the melee rework, or like just where they change how fundamentally different archetypes work and how different skills scale, and just change entire systems, so there's a new world of skills to explore. But I don't think that's happening for the next patch.
Yeah,
What I wanted
can't
to
wait for.
Oh.
Sorry, go on.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
hear
okay.
now.
I was gonna say that I cannot wait for the initial reaction, like, oh my god, GGG, we worked another 10 skills. Look at all of them be bad. Oh my god, what are they doing? Don't they play their own game? It's happening.
We haven't talked about that at all, though, right? Like,
yeah.
you guys saw that on Reddit, someone called them out for not having played their own game, and they challenged one dev to get through the acts and delirium everywhere, and then the dev won rank 1 occultist, and HC
rank 1 occultist, yeah.
Yeah,
he was insane too. Like,
not only is he rank 1, but on a competitive ascendancy. Right.
I just like to imagine.
Get fucked.
Chris just walked over to that guy, tapped him on the shoulder, and he's like, "You've seen that post on Reddit? You're off for a week. You know what to do."
Yeah. So rank 2 through 6 occultist got demis instead of rank 1 because he wasn't eligible. So rank 2 occultist got a demis that says rank 1, and so on and so forth.
Which, just out of curiosity, I feel like if you're playing on the public server and you're a GGG employer and you win, you win. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know why they weren't eligible. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? Like McDonald's employees being not eligible to play the Monopoly game, I guess.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, no, it would just be a weird flavor if they were.
Or whatever.
It's just to exclude any like people thinking that there's anything fishy, like to remove any trace of a hint of a suspicion that there could be. But the thing is also, people who work on the game, on the development, they may, with a game like Path of Exile, where knowledge is key, right, and it's a very knowledge based game, you may actually have a big advantage when you know how the inside of the game works, depending on what your department at GGG is, right?
That's the best comment I've ever read. It's not like they had inside advantage from testing the events, because they weren't tested.
That's not true.
Anyway.
Yep, moving on.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the events because now that Balor is back, because the another topic that was discussed in the community heavily, and I want to know where you stand on that, is crafting bench and endless delve and endless heist. Yes or no?
Oof.
If it existed, I would have played for longer.
Let me put it this way: in delve, your goal is anyway to farm a lot of fossils and resonators, and I think the game gives you a lot of crafting materials you can do nice things with. So I think for the Delph event, it was not really that necessary. I think there was just enough to get your character going and do it well, as well as like especially there are a few nodes that give you items with fractured mods and like good mods that are on a decent base, right? Like let's say you get a ring with vulnerability on hit. You're playing a bleed build and it's already locked, so you can just chaos spam it until you get like a life roll and maybe 2 resistances. I don't know. On the other hand, you had the heist event, which was a lot different in the sense that, yeah, you could do some fossil stuff, but getting resonators was ass. Right? I think during the entire event, I was putting a lot of time. I got one 4-socket resonator, and I got a couple with 3, but not much, right? And in terms of fossils, there wasn't that much either, and I was running all of my stuff, right? It's not like I was just missing out on brute force missions or demolition or whatever. It just didn't drop that much. And Grunt Heights didn't drop that much either. Like they said, we're going to supply you guys with more blueprints so that you can run those and have fun with it. But I ended up with, like when I ripped, I had like 120k markers in my bank, like some insane number. They again,
And you didn't
like,
have blueprints to
just
split
play
them
tested a little bit in the end game, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was just so unfortunate. And I think if they had like crafting bench and then leave out all the wild modifiers and stuff, it could have been okay. Just get you off the ground, not be too impactful, but you know, get something done.
Without being able to pick up crafting recipes, like there's not that much on the bench. Like it would have really having the bench there would have just been like, here is the absolute basics.
Yeah, life
And
res.
you can just get like a little bit of res. You can't even get like the all res or the multi ones because they're all, you just get the base. And like here's a little bit of dex or here's a little bit of strength to fix your gear. Like that would have been it.
Oh, so even
And
the
that
lowest
would've made
tier
me
of
play
life
longer.
and resist, like only the transmute resists, not the ones for alks that you need to unlock. The higher
It
ones.
would have just been starter
base.
stuff.
Okay, yeah, okay, I totally agree with that. I said that would have gone a long way. But in both Endless Delve and Endless Heist. But like for Delve, I agree. I would have liked just more materials because, as we said, voided events anyway. Then let us also get a little bit more. Maybe it did feel like it was very few.
They were boosting on the Delve event, right? You got more stuff.
Did you?
I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think so.
I had like currency nodes quite early on where I just got like 12 fusings from one drop, like, from one chest.
I think that's just how
stuff
the
like that.
game is now, though.
Yeah, I think that's just how it is.
I don't think it was.
Is that just Delve?
Yeah.
Guys, is Delve good?
Yeah. It's like that
It's
base
okay.
game too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, we
I
just had a
really
Delve rework. Like what? This league, right? Was it this
Yeah,
league?
like I didn't
last
really care
league?
much about Delve before.
Yeah, Delve is really
last
good
league,
now.
I think. But yeah, that's
last league?
base now.
Yeah, it's really
Ooh.
good.
It's just that in the league, 12 fuses is worth less than an alk because all my stuff's already 6-linked.
Yeah, this league anyway.
That was
right.
Scourge, man. That was Scourge.
Yeah.
Everyone had a 6-link, okay?
Yeah.
It was easier to find a 6-link than find a 5-link because people turned those into 6-links.
Yeah. I think a big issue with both Endless Delve and Endless Heist, though, were the fact that you had such an abrupt resistance change. And it's not like you didn't know that this was coming, but you didn't have a crafting bench to kind of prepare for it. And if your gear was shit, what are you supposed to do? Like, even if you fall back to farm, you're still going to get XP. You're
Down-leveling
eventually going to
recipe.
hit that mark. And not only that, but you could technically be mid-run in either Heist or mid-node in Delve and have that XP penalty hit. And you're just like, bam, okay, now I have, 45 fire res or 45 cold res, and I'm like coming up to a bad cold node. Like, what are you supposed to do?
I mean,
Immediately
purity
log
of
out, I
elements
guess.
is the answer.
Yeah, or you had 45 to begin with because your gear was already bad.
Because it was already trash. Now you're at
And then
15.
now you're at 15. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the theme of your build. Who knows?
I guess if you had a Doriani's, you wouldn't be so upset about that. But most people.
There'll be someone out there that used the Veil of the Night and it was good for them.
Yeah, right. The one case where Veil.
I can see that.
There's some guy who's like, oh man, I'm -19, -30, and -60. And I did drop this Veil of the Night.
You're talking about that softcore marauder who's unassended in maps, and he's just, wow, it gives me 60% all res.
Yeah.
This item's great. And it gives me what, 19% increased defenses. Let's go.
This one helmet has 180 res on it. Let's go.
Another good point that was raised was that it's just, except for Gauntlet, very one-dimensional, as in like the only thing to go for was XP levels. It would have been cool, or it would be cool if in the future with events like that they do a little bit more like Gauntlet, that there's different things to go for, like either point system like Gauntlet, or just give different prices like they used to in the races. Back in the race seasons, they used to give points for like first full clear of FATED pool, for example, right? When they did like an Act 3 race or something like that. So, you know, some people would obviously go for that fastest time to complete the Act 3, but some people would just be like, okay, I'm just going to quickly play 15 minutes and get the first, well, not 15 minutes, but like whatever it takes to get the first clear of FATED pool.
No, back then it was 15 minutes.
Probably. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is it would be cool if there would be different things to go for other than the really tough start to end grind for maximum XP, because that's, you know, that's just a grind that ends when the event ends, or when you hit 100, or when you die in hardcore. But that's
Delve
maybe more
in depth and not XP.
Delve was depth.
Was
Yeah,
it?
it was
right?
XP.
Yeah, I thought
XP
so.
didn't matter at all,
I thought so.
except for the MTX draws.
true. I
Yeah.
presented that wrong. That's correct. Delve was, but still one-dimensional.
But it would have been cool if there was like some bonus prizes, for example, in the Delirium event. I could have said, you get a bonus box if you do wave 30 of the Simulacrum. Just
Good
if you
luck.
do it one time, you get a box or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just to
Something.
incentivize just stepping outside your XP
A
grind.
lot of people stopped at 50 because they were like, I don't get anything else out of this. I get my box, I'm gone. Right?
Yeah, and they don't have the time or the drive to grind that XP to get their demis.
Right.
It was a grind
Mm-hmm.
to get that demis for sure.
Damn, I ripped on day 2 to the Boiling Striders. I just walked into a map. I just changed part of my gear. Character was set up. Walk in, get LA weakness down to 60% cold res, 3 cold snaps, character's gone. And I had to go again, and I had to invest so much time every day. And it was still working my regular 8 hours. I was not on break or something. So I was quite surprised when I still got the rank 2 on the Hierophant. It was really cool.
If you hadn't had to work the last day, I think you could have called it rank 1, dude.
Yeah, I was just missing 200 million XP to the rank 1. He was dead at 98 and like 27%.
That's not even
XP.
that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just at that point, your XP per hour just really comes too slow. It becomes a trickle.
Boy, does it. Yeah, it definitely does.
I have been juicing so hard. I was surprised I didn't rip on one of those maps because I was running all Sextons and I was adding Beyond and all the. I didn't even really care about the Delirium on those maps, just walking through there.
Yeah, you played an explosive arrow Hierophant, right?
Right, totems.
That's what you totems, yeah.
That was really crazy. It's actually going to be my league starter for the next season because I really like the build. Just a pain to get going because you have to level with holy flame totems and stuff. And then you have to get all the dexterity from the passive tree, and you're playing a Templar. So where do you get your dex from? And you have to pick up all the ballista nodes, and you have to get EE and EO, and you gotta be everywhere on the tree basically at the same time.
It's a long skillgrimage before it becomes good, but it does become good. Like we actually made a league start build guide on that like 3 leagues ago or something.
Oh, seriously, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like one of my mods, like the people I play with, did that like 3 leagues in a row as their league start. It was super good. They were clearing tier 16s on like day 2 in a quill rain.
Love that.
Like a 5 link. They're just still doing it now. It's fantastic.
It reminds me of the build that I'm currently
for a
playing.
while, yeah. What,
Same
Energy Blade?
stretch.
Yeah,
No, it reminds me because I do the same stretch via the top to the ranger side as a Templar, but it's Skillgrimage is a good one. But obviously without the part where it actually becomes good. I mean,
I was gonna say it's a secret new build, right? Like it's going to be the meta in the future when you're done with it.
Yeah. I'm just playing it on the stream. I'm not showing its full true potential. I'm actually purposefully scuffing it so that people don't steal my OP build.
DDD should nerf it before the new league, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the idea.
Nah, I think that one's scuffed. But I'll see how far I can get it. We pretty much covered everything we wanted to cover about the December events, and we've been going for quite some time. I think we should be talking about Siege of the Atlas and what we hope and wish and what we got from the 20-second teaser. Should I throw that up on the screen? So for everyone listening to the audio cast, you have to watch that on YouTube's Path of Exile page, or Path of Exile's YouTube page rather, the Grinding Gear videos. YouTube.com/Grinding Gear. Right, there is a 20-second teaser for the February expansion reveal.
Not long enough.
Nah, there's like no information at all.
See much.
Yeah, it's just like this weird wiggly dude flying into the camera, right?
So we know that
the
it's
area
from the Eldritch realm because of the tentacles, right? And he's like a floaty tentacle dude. There is some interlaced frames. If you pause them on certain things, there was just one right there, which is like kind of like the Atlas symbol.
Right.
And then there's another one, like right around 7 seconds, that has like kind of like an imprint of the Maven, or some sort of Maven-esque figure with like some kind of like circles around her that kind of looks like
there it is.
the Atlas in a way, but with like punch outs.
It looks like a watchstone tower.
Or like a like a watchstone tower. Or like maybe you could like have modular maps
there,
or something.
Yeah, modular maps, man.
Which would make sense considering they just slimmed it down and we have maps that aren't currently on the Atlas to be able to maybe tailor your own Atlas in a way. It's right around like 7 seconds.
There's that. And also, something to note is there is water behind the 3.17.
There's one frame that's... there's the Maven. We got the Maven background.
See the circles around her? Like how it's kind of like, it kind of looks like the Atlas. They're not uniform.
Oh yeah, there's like holes. There's like cheese holes in the Atlas. And you can put your own maps there maybe,
Right.
Okay, this is just... I'm going off the deep end probably, but probably there's going to be random invasions on maps, and then you gotta go into those specific maps, and there's going to be bonus objectives on those, and you're like working towards a bigger thing.
Has everyone seen the inverted color screenshot?
No.
Right. No. So it was just linked in chat. I saw it the other day. I'll link it in Discord so you don't have to click on all of them. But there is a face in that, and it looks like a real face, like a real human face. There's a face in it.
What?
So not the Maven one?
Wait,
look at the one I just linked in Discord.
I'm opening it right now.
I'm going to link it in the chat. It's already there in the chat, but I'm just linking it so you know which one to click if people want to have a look.
Yeah.
I got it.
Hold on.
There's a face.
Right, that's the Maven.
That is a face.
In the middle.
That is a human real life face.
Is that Chris?
What do you mean, Maven? Look at it. Isn't that a human face?
No.
But look at the hair coming off of it, and then it has like the moon shaped thing on the top of her head.
Yeah, but it looks like there's something else chopped over it or something like that. Like it may have been manipulated to include some other face.
I didn't think it looked like Maven right off the bat. I said that it kind of looks like a male figure. Like it doesn't quite look like a female. But when you look at the hair coming off of it, and then the symbol above her head that kind of
absolutely. This whole upper part, but if you just ignore that and you just look at the face, like this whole part is like, just added head.
Just look at just that. That's a human face. But other than that, anyway, I'm guessing Maven Daddy, right?
I think it's her older brother.
Or cousin. I don't know what their family is like, but it has been said before, they are coming. And they implies plural. Yep. And that means not only one, but many. At least two.
The other thing worth mentioning when we look through this, especially because of all the tentacles there, is that lore-wise, and I don't know a lot about lore, but I know this bit, lore-wise, Elder was nothing. He was just an agent of chaos, like a scout sent to look for things. Just an agent of chaos.
And now they're coming to look for him, basically, because he hasn't returned.
This may not be Maven related. This might be Elder related.
There are tentacles.
True. Another thing to point out here is that guy with the bubble and the wings is exactly the apparition. Well, almost exactly the apparition on the supporter pack. Which supporter pack is it?
I was corrected. Agent of Decay. You're right. My bad.
Hold on. Shop by packs. Which one was it?
Oh, I got a nice clear frame here.
Ravager supporter pack. He is the apparition that is hovering over the portal on the Ravager supporter pack. So, are any of these other apparition characters on any of the other portal effects on the supporter packs any way related? There's one that looks kind of like female-ish and Maven-esque. The Annihilator.
What if it was both? What if the whole thing was both? What if both the Agents of Decay, the people behind Elder, are coming, and also Maven's family is coming, and they are fighting each other?
Siege. What's a siege represent? A siege is a takeover, yeah?
Or an siege is when you're like, I guess. Yeah. No, like if you besiege something, then you're building up your temporary camp there and shoot rocks over there and try to take them over, I guess. But you could also doesn't necessarily have to be a takeover if you siege, right? You could also be like an extermination or something like that, right?
So obviously this is all rampant speculation. But like, what if the whole new endgame?
So scroll down one more.
Is us sort of picking it and deciding which group of them wins?
Second one down from there. One more, right there. That's him.
What if we get to decide who wins? What if we have to pick a side?
Oh, we have to like join forces with the evil.
With either the Agents of Chaos.
Are you assuming that we're right now the good guys? Because that's a stretch.
We have never been the good guys. We have never been the good guys ever.
No.
And maybe us having to side with one of these makes Zana really mad at us, and then she turns against us and becomes the baddie before we have to transition into PoE 2.
What if we get sealed into the Atlas, just like Cyrus and his buddies?
That was us.
Yeah, I was gonna say we are the conquerors.
No, that's our
of
past
Magic.
selves. That's not
Our past
not what
selves,
we're
yeah.
our current incarnations.
True.
I gotta
I think
say, I really don't like the looks of the Ravager set.
The set itself doesn't look good. I don't like this set either. But the apparition on the portal is that guy. Look, there he is, right there.
Yeah.
He has red eyes.
Yeah, he
That's
looks
not
just
the
like
same.
him.
He's not.
Yeah, he
quite
got the
same,
bubble.
but he's got the bubble, and he has like the same overall figure. The wings are different, and he doesn't have the red spots on his chest quite the same. But they're related.
It does
at
have
very
them on the
least.
spot, right? I don't know. Yeah, the style is similar. You have like the baby blue, the turquoise kind of teal, I don't know, ish color, and the elder elements, the tentacles and stuff like that. That combination is it is the same style, or at least very similar, but it. I mean, obviously they're using whatever textures and color palettes and designs they work on for the new league, right? They're using that for the supporter packs and vice versa, right?
And they've done this before with the old Conqueror packs too. They based some of those supporter packs on Redeemer and Baron and Hunter and the punchy guy Drox.
True.
So maybe those 4 apparitions are at least loosely based on new bosses. Maybe no more Conquerors, maybe no more Cirrus. You know what I would really like to see though? I wouldn't want to see the Conquerors totally go away, but maybe kind of how, remember Shaper and Elder used to be accessed through the Atlas too, and then they became Guardian maps. Instead of having Conqueror spawn, now you have a chance to drop Conqueror maps. And if they drop, you can fight them, maybe in a beefed up state, like not, obviously like T16 or T14, 15, 16 difficulty. And if you beat them, then they drop a fragment. And if you get all 4, then you can still go fight Cirrus.
Absolutely, yeah. That's how I hope that they. I mean, that's probably how they're going to do it. I mean, I think it's successful how they did it with Shaper and Elder to some degree to have them in the Atlas like that. And also that gives us the chance to maybe get a Maven invitation where we get to fight all 4 Conquerors at once, or even with Cirrus involved.
Yeah, that would open that up. Yep. And people have been asking and wondering why that wasn't a possibility to begin with, really, from the start.
Just one thing, make those fragments interchangeable with Harvest, and while you're at it, change it for Uber Elder as well, where you're why in the hell are you not able to Harvest exchange Uber Elder fragments? All the time when I play SSF, I end up with 4 of one kind and 0 of the other, and I'm mad about it. I'm really mad.
Why can't you Horizon certain Elder Guardians to another Elder Guardian? But you can do that with Shaper Guardians.
Because Shaper Guardians are specific maps and Elder is on regular maps.
Yeah, so your answer was technical? But we don't care about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm
sorry.
I work as a programmer. Right? I'm just explaining why they did it the way they did it.
Yeah.
There are ways to implement something like that, but it requires more work. And that's why it's not a thing.
Also, look at the health globe in the middle of the... Doesn't it look like a health globe? On the Siege of the Atlas?
I'll look at it when it comes around next time.
Or maybe it's just a color scheme and I'm reading into it too much, but it looks like a health globe to me.
It looks like a red globe, I'll give you that. some form of red globe. I mean, it could be a red watchstone for all we know, right? Like it doesn't look like I don't see anything that qualifies it as a health globe.
What if you have to sacrifice your watchstones to engage them?
It does look blue, like water, and tentacles are kind of water-based. I think this means it's Boat League.
Boat League, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's also blue on the bottom of the letters. I think is that the same? Is that the same word art that they used for past one? I think I remember that color scheme because Like the
I don't
going
think
from
they changed
golden
the font.
to. Yeah, I don't think so either.
The boats are coming.
Coming.
Yeah, we misunderstood them, right? It was not they are coming. It was the boats are coming.
Yep.
Pirate League.
All right, League. We did just get the cursed supporter pack, right?
I mean, the water is a strong hint.
We're going
Yeah.
treasure hunting, boys.
I don't think we'll to stop to get off the meme train just for a second. I don't think we'll ever get a boat league. I think it'll forever be like something that we just meme about pre-league.
No, they said that Expedition was supposed to be the boat league, but the boats felt like they weren't really part of the core concept and just felt like they were added for no reason, so they scrapped them. If I understand, or like something like that,
Really?
or scope load. They did something about. They did say something about Expedition was supposed to be the boat league. Bex, GGG,
I mean, I guess it makes sense because an
Expedition.
expedition can be on a boat, and like if
Yeah.
you look at like the Antarctic expedition,
Yeah, I even found it. Well, she tweeted it. Yeah, I'm gonna read it out. Yeah. Fun fact: Expedition was originally planned as the boat league until boats were removed from the design. Line up for pitchforks below. Well, it was actually on the official Path of Exile, but it reads
And
like
there's
a
your
Bex
post.
tweet.
I mean, that's definitely a Bex tweet. You can tell when Bex is the one tweeting from the GDG account and when it's not Bex. It's super easy to tell.
Yeah, she's really on that Twitter game.
Yeah.
she's a master of her craft for sure. She knows what she's
Yeah.
doing.
When you see a tweet from GDG and it makes you happy and angry at the same time, that's Bex.
She's mischievous like that. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Yeah, I agree with you, Bella.
I mean, doesn't it
But
make
that's
a
why I
really
enjoy it
good
so much.
PR rep, and like that's just makes
Yeah.
her really good at her job.
Bex might be the best person at PR I have ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely up there.
So initially, I said when I first seen this trailer that people were like, "What do you think about the trailer?" And I said, "What do you mean? What do I think about it? It's a 7-second thing with no information." But the more you look into it and like analyze the
Yo.
small little details, it's like, okay, there is actually some information here, but it's very loose, and you have to kind of construct your own story around it based off what you know in the game and like what you kind of hope and want. Maybe hope and want it doesn't really go, but at least what you know from the game. And I really
I
like
mean, we could just be completely wrong about all our predictions.
Oh yeah.
But we have to go off what we see, and what we see is there's water, there's some strange new creature. It looks somewhat similar to the Maven. They changed that with the emissary, right? He used to get to the end of his voice lines and just shut up forever, and then they changed him so he would say they are coming.
Mhm.
And who is he connected to? It was like obvious there would be something from that direction, and all of it leads to what we see here, which suggests that there's going to be like a Maven expansion.
They
If
also
it includes the Maven.
They also said when Maven was first introduced that she was the first of many to come from this realm.
And that she's still very young. She's just a child.
She's a
basically.
toddler. That's what he said.
Yeah.
She's a toddler.
Literally
Which
killed
kind of
the
makes
toddler.
sense of why she makes you do a memory game. And then maybe this guy's her older brother and he's going to make you play Guitar Hero.
I literally tried to visualize how that would work in the game. Oh god, that's so silly. I could definitely see something coming like that. Maybe not Guitar Hero, but like,
ASDW. And there's left or left, right, up, down. You have to like match them up.
We already have rhythm games in the game. I don't need any more of that.
I will say this though. That guy looks mean.
Beat Saber minigame.
He looks really
Oh,
mean.
shit.
Like the
PoE
design of him
PoE.
looks scary.
Sure.
Like he looks like a baddie. Unlike
He's a
Maven, who
baddie.
didn't really look that threatening, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
was
mean, she
playing,
just
right?
wants to play, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He looks mean.
Yeah,
He wants to hurt you.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I mean,
for real.
honestly, with Scourge, they did already like go a lot more into the direction of like scary, demonic things that really want to hurt you, right? Like both visually and gameplay wise. I'd be very happy if we get another league where things just globally affect you without like a league that is more, that engages and changes more things, more rules of the game than just go into map and click this thing and then you get extra content that normally you wouldn't have had.
Yeah. Like, do you guys remember when we had Shaper and Elder influence on the maps, on the Atlas?
Yes.
And it was so glorious where you had these expanding areas and you could like choose. We still had that Elder Orb in the game where you can choose, okay, there's this one map that I really care about. And
make it a
you remove
T16.
certain maps from your Atlas. So you have like extra strategies and such. And there would just be so much more custom gameplay, you could say, almost, right? Where you just choose, okay, I really care about glacier, or like stuff like that. It was just the best thing.
Shaped maps. Shaped strand meta.
Yeah, stuff like that. It was just so cool. And I think the modern Atlas is great. I like when they cut down on the number of maps, for example. I think that was a good thing that they did. And I like that they cut down the regions from 8 to 4, because it feels like you get to endgame a lot quicker these days. And you feel much less forced to just be a completionist and put in X amount of hours before you get anywhere. It's good for both people who like to invest a lot of time, but also for a little bit more casual players or just people who cannot invest as much time into gaming as some of us do still, right? Because you always make a choice how much time of your day you put into the game. So I would just like to see a little bit more customization with the Atlas, because that's like sometimes you have choices like with the Atlas passives, but oftentimes I feel like there's the best choice, and then there's ones where it comes down to what's your specific thing right now, but not really that impactful, right?
Also, most of the time, it's the best choice or the second best choice, which is 50% as good. It'd be really nice if it was 95% as good. And you could be like, I just like that content more, and it's like nearly as good. So I'm just going to do the one I enjoy instead of the one I should do. That would always be better. But that's
it always feels bad to be
thing.
forced into like a content or a subset of the maps or Atlas just because it's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
I always try to distance myself from that and not get stuck in that whole, like the T3 tower Scourge stuff from this league. Like, didn't even touch it. Didn't even want to get close to it. Of course, I'm HCSSF and, farming a, bunch of nurses don't really do a whole lot for me.
I mean, Steel farmed an entire headhunter there.
He did. Yeah, sure.
It's so it's absolutely crazy. I would never. I can't imagine.
I'd be so burned out on that. I tried that with Burial Chambers before, and I got all the way to 6 doctor cards in SC, SSF, and I was just like so burned out on that shit. I was just like, nah, I can't.
I
think I ran like 900.
I leveled to level 100 on an MF Deadeye in hardcore trade in Burial Chambers.
Disgusting.
I don't. Listen, the last level, I just eldered Burial Chambers and didn't change my gear and just did the whole thing in full MF gear with like 3.9k life. And I was just like, I can't handle it anymore. I can't be here and doing this at this low tier. It's going to take me 6 more days. And I can't do it. We're eldering the map and we're just going to blast. And if we die, we die. And if we make it to 100, great. And if we die, too bad. At least I'm out of here today either way.
But Bala, was it worth the therapy sessions you had to pay for afterwards?
Oh,
Was it worth it?
look, I have a level 100 in hardcore. That's nice.
That's true. That's quite impressive, actually.
That's
done that
nice.
That is an accomplishment.
But
Seriously.
that last level was scary.
I bet.
Just going up to Elder, and we were still blasting them too. Like we were still like rolling them heavy and everything. Like I was just like, nah, I'm done. I'm done here. This is over today. I either die at level 99 or we blast Juice tier 16s and we get to level 100 somehow without dying. But either way, I'm not coming back. And we made it, so it's fine.
Yeah, paid off.
Yep. Oh.
That is
I
quite the
did the 100
resemblance there between the Christ Wilson and
Oh, is
I don't know. I'm trying to enhance it a little bit and trying to. It's like it's
The
really
enhanced
hard to
thing
get
only works-
anything.
You know what I said though? I said who I thought it looked like initially was like Scorpion or Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
looks
I
like
can
to
totally
me.
see that.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't let us fight Jesus, right? We already killed the gods of
Christ
that world.
Wilson.
Sure.
But they would let us fight Sub-Zero or Scorpion. Get over here.
Nah, the final end boss of PoE will be Zana, and we all know it.
Absolutely. Without a
It has
doubt.
to be. Like 4 years I've been saying, Zana's the next baddie. Zana's the next baddie.
Yeah,
It's never the
she's-
next baddie. But she
she's
has
the-
to come up
The
eventually.
next daddy.
She'll be the last one. She'll be the last one before PoE 2.
You reckon?
She's gonna stab us in the back.
No, we're going to stab her in the back. We've never been the good guys. People don't
True.
betray us. They turn on us when they realize how terrible we are.
I mean, look at all the chaos that we cause when we go through Ray class, and then we're like, "Oh,
No.
it's okay. We'll fix it. I'll fix it. Don't worry." And then we cause more chaos.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
we
we
just
did
tear
it with the
everything
best
to
intentions,
pieces.
right?
The road to hell and all that.
I think it's their fault anyway, right? They're the ones that exiled us. It's their fault. They should have just left
Yeah,
us alone
yeah.
in Oriath. None of this would have
It's-
ever
it's-
happened.
You did read the backstories to the characters, right? Like, for example, what
It's
they do.
like, we started as very bad people.
Didn't get exiled for shit, man.
Isn't the
Stuff
witch
is
like a child murderer? Like,
Yeah,
Illic is.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
definitely
original
is a-
backstory, but they don't say that in the game anymore.
Yeah, they
yeah, I'm
changed that.
pretty sure they changed it to like burning houses down or something. But
Well,
either
wasn't
way,
the,
we were.
Duelist-
the ranger
Duelist
was just
stuff
like a
is why-
hunter, and she just wasn't she exiled for like hunting wild animals?
I don't know.
They called her
but
poacher.
Royalties animals, like what's it called? Like some game. It's kind of feudalistic in a way, right? But didn't like the duelist sleep with some nobleman's wife, then killed him in combat in a duel? I mean,
I
that's
don't
something
know,
that you
but
can exile someone for.
that sounds right.
Maybe that's why Piety's voice lines to the duelist are so like vulgar and explicit.
Probably. She knows.
Don't be
Maybe
shy,
she was a wife.
duelist.
Who knows?
Just touch me. Well, she was a prostitute.
Oh, true. She
So
was.
She's no angel herself. Her name was Vinia, and the 10 regret div card is named after her. And if you read the flavor text, it says at the bottom, you can change your name, but you cannot change your past. Vinia was Piety, or is Piety. Wasn't Diala like one of her like subjugates or underlings or whatever?
Something like that. I didn't read into the lore too much or remember enough of the lore series that I watched on YouTube.
Yeah, me neither, but I do remember like bits and pieces of certain things.
GG lore is weird anyway.
It really is, yeah.
It is. It's very odd.
All the lore I know is just what I remember of Kitten Cat Noodle's lore series. That's I never learned any of it in game. It all came from the lore series. Thanks,
Wow, look
Noodle.
at that UI.
Super
Did a good
stuff.
job on that.
What did I want to say? I want to say that I hope that it's going to be super worth it that they postponed the next league so long. I'm really expecting like a very polished and very filled release with a lot of good stuff and very, very few problems on launch. That I mean, maybe huffing that hopium again, but I really think with all the see, they're doing such a great job on the whole, but like every time something seems to go wrong, and like just one little thing, and it would have changed everything, or like a number of little things. Maybe not just one little thing, but like
It's usually a very little thing that if they like Baylor was saying about the events that if it
with
just
the
been
event
done just
specifically,
slightly differently, just a little bit, just a little more care and like observation into this, that it would have been like amazing.
And I do think they have the capability. That's why mostly I raised that again. I think they can do it. I think GGG has done amazing launches in the past.
Yes.
It's just been a while since they had one, and we need to get one super killer bad boy big ass league. That would be great for the game, because I want to play this game and stream this game for a large amount of years to come. So it would be great to see that it's that everyone perceives it as something that has a lot of success.
Well, you had to say it, Catmaster. You said, "Oh, I hope it's going to be fine," right? And that means it won't be. I'm sorry, man. I used to have hope too, but what I learned is if you wish for it to be good, it's going to be scuffed, and we're gonna have launch issues and shit, and everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa, GTG never gets anything right," and where are the play testers, etc., etc.
But they took so much extra time for this new league. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I will take whatever they give me and I'll like it.
Weeks. I'm not sure. Let's put it that way.
I think it'll be good. I mean, we've had like several almost really good leagues, but that turned out slightly mediocre for whatever reason. I think they're due for a banger. And I think it's going to be well received, good. What I'm hoping is that we get some refreshes or reworks of some older skills that are very underutilized, that they don't go too crazy with nerfs, particularly for the defenses that we just got. I mean, obviously, I think, a couple things will get touched, like spell suppression may get adjusted, perhaps determination numbers, maybe reservation numbers, maybe, obviously, things that everyone is using and abusing right now, but new skills that are exciting and usable and not complete shit on launch and then need to be patched and fixed right away, and older skills that are underutilized to be brought up to a level that is usable, that we can kind of play around and maybe experience and discover these new quirky / broken builds again.
Revert Thunder.
Yeah, Thunder feels terrible in its current state.
Yeah, like I said, the Frostblades, Reef, there's a number of skills that could be touched up, and I'd be very happy if they do so. I just really want PoE to have a lot of viable options, and not just... But they've been doing a good job at increasing the diversity and decreasing the margin by which extreme outliers outperform other things, right? At least at large. Like, sure, there's exceptions, but sometimes there are also unintended interactions that get discovered by players before they get discovered by developers. Another thing, though, that I wanted to mention is Ultimatum coming back next league. We already know Ultimatum's coming back. I hope that they're doing a good job at that they make it so that
we know it's coming back.
They said that Ultimatum's coming back.
They did say that. Chris made a sly comment on one of the podcasts that said, the devs don't want me to tell you that Ultimatum is coming back in 3.17. And we haven't heard anything about it since.
Really?
Yeah, because the devs slapped him on the wrist for that, probably. No, but seriously, did he say that?
Yeah, it was on one of the podcasts.
I think he said that, but I don't think that was the only place that they said that.
Was it in another article? I didn't happen to see that. If it was in somewhere,
I don't know.
else.
Didn't they mention it somewhere along the sides of other leagues leaving, because they've been phasing leagues out,
post.
right? In the prophecy post, possibly.
That's
we'll have to check it out.
dude. Like, Ultimatum was fun for like 3 weeks, and then it would just go out really effing tiring.
Oh, but I'm not hyped about the moment-to-moment gameplay of the Ultimatum League coming back. I'm looking forward to getting mostly inscribed ultimatums as drops from other stuff, and the Trial Master fight coming back. The fight is really cool.
Well,
I fought it 3 times, and he fucking killed 3 of my characters.
Hate Forge. That's what we're excited for. Hate Forge.
I mean, Hate Forge, you can put that thing on a div card. You don't need Ultimatum for that.
They said they were going to make it more. They said they were going to make it more strategic, though, and not so overwhelming and just murder everything.
Yeah,
whatever that means.
The issue for me was it didn't feel good to fight the Trial Master. Oftentimes, you would face him and you already have like 8 rune stacks, maybe. Or you would fight him and he wouldn't drop shit. Or just in general, bad RNG with that. He was so rare. I think I saw him 3 times and I was playing start to finish for 3 months in SC. So I was doing a shit ton of Ultimatum all the time.
Did you bail out of ultimatums though? Like, because we know that was predetermined, right? So if you were like,
I never bailed out. I always went for max.
Okay.
And I was playing builds that were like really good with that. I was playing Death's Oath Occultist with Corrupted Flesh, Divine Flesh, and I was running Evasion on top so that I could always pick Ruin without getting hit. The build was fantastic for that. I don't know.
I just saw the freeze mechanic again. I just saw the freeze mechanic in the trailer again, and it's so good. I didn't mean to interrupt you, though.
I will say that I didn't touch Ultimatum at all in that gauntlet, where in most gauntlets I will interact with League mechanics. However, in the Ultimatum gauntlet, I didn't touch Ultimatum, I don't think, once. It was so rippy with those archers.
Yeah, some things scale exceptionally well with additional prod.
Yeah. Kind of off topic, sorry.
No, it's fine. We're at that point where, we went from what our hopes are for the next league via Ultimatum, which I think is still coming back next league, but we just found out that I thought that there were more hints at that than there actually are out there.
You pulled the post up, and
I pulled the prophecy post that doesn't mention Ultimatum at all.
Okay. I didn't think that they mentioned it anywhere else, but I could be wrong. I don't keep up on 100% of everything.
I thought it was basically a known fact that Ultimatum comes back for 3.17, but maybe all that assumption is based on is that Chris mentioned it, like you said. So I don't know.
That's the only thing I remember of it.
What do you think about prophecy leaving? As that's probably a nice topic to round up with. I mean, Ultimatum hopefully comes back in a nice, pleasurable way that doesn't impose too many bad things onto the gameplay.
I don't mind seeing Prophecy leave. I just don't really enjoy the way they're doing it with getting rid of some of the uniques that do see some use. They may not be the best, but Realmender does something, especially early league. Silver bow is really good as like a plus to levels bow before you can get your +3 chaos dot multi or fire dot multi or whatever you're getting. Like these things may not be the greatest, but they have a place. Fox's Fortune may not be the coolest thing in the world, but it does a thing. And I think that getting rid of them doesn't make much sense. And also, I'm also wondering about what happens to things like Twice Enchanted. What happens to things like Jeweler's Touch or Fated Connections? What happens to Fated Connections?
What happens to Fated Connections, paper hands?
Right?
Two
Or the
years
juice-
from now, no one gets the name of the podcast at all.
Yeah. I thought about that recently, actually. That exact thought is like, you're gonna have to like explain what it means. People are gonna be like, is this a
I've been
dating
planning
show?
for it.
What's going on here?
It's just gonna be all capitals Fated. It's just gonna be the Fated podcast. Easy.
But like the juicing prophecies, there may be a bunch of shit prophecies and not.
I'm gonna
good.
miss
And
Plague of Frogs.
Plague of Frogs, the Sirens, the Tempest ones aren't exactly great, but they add quantity to your maps. Again, Twice Enchanted. Like there are useful prophecies, and I think the way that they're just phasing some of this stuff out could have been done a lot better.
Like when I say this, I'm not over exaggerating. I have quad tabs full of Plague of Frogs, rats, those sort of things for juice maps. Like I'll buy them 100, 150 at a time if they're available, and I'm gonna miss those. But I'm only gonna miss them because they add juice to my map, right? Like as long as they give me another way back to add more juice to my map, I'm probably not gonna care.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna miss the micromanagement.
Yeah, and those were pretty low management though in trade because you just buy 100 of them and put them in one tab.
Yeah, but you still have to click them every like in between. Isn't there a point at which there's too many things to remember to do every couple of maps or every map or in like certain rhythms?
So no, because I set up run tabs. So I set up tabs that already have everything organized for me. All the prophecies I use like fragments as the gaps for where they're supposed to be. I have like a pile of sextants when it's going to be time to resextant the area. Like everything just sits in the tab, all organized and in order. And when I run maps, I just go click across that row, put them all in, run the map. Cross that row, put them all in, run the map. Cross that row, put them all in, run the map.
Here's the thing, right? I agree with you to that degree where you said that if they remove that, they have to add something which gives us a similar value. We know that with GGG, there's never going to be a time when you cannot juice your maps. But I liked it. I like prophecy in general. I didn't like that you unlocked it in Act 1 and then it feels like you're just collecting coins for the first time you get into maps to a certain level, because there's so many prophecies that are just a waste of time because they give you nothing.
Yeah.
Like you get into maps, you're level 65 and you forget that you need a couple more levels because you're still in the range of some of those. And you get the Grain Gate or something, right? And then you got to go to get the Gatekeeper or something like that. It's just...
Or you get Kajuk or the False Idols and you're like T16.
Yeah, like free fusings. I'm sorry. Like back in the day, I would run those because, oh my God, free fusings? Value, right? These days, like free fusings, I could run another map, You pick that up along the way. But they should have just put in a little bit more effort and maybe rework prophecy other than remove it completely from the game, especially before the Roof Torment. I think that was where I was getting mad because there's stuff in the game that's literally worse.
Torment and Talismans could both disappear and no one would give a shit.
And not only that,
take them both out.
Pale Council. Like, why remove Pale Council? It didn't do anything. It may not be that exciting, but it didn't do anything to anybody, and it's a pretty good like lead-in for people who are just getting into this like bossing, quotes. Right? It's not bad.
It was at least interesting. I think, now that you mention it, for the past 2 leagues, I have not been running a single Pale Council. I've just not done it because I had no reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They removed the crafts. You run, I think it's in Putrid Cloister now.
It is.
So you run that one time, and then you're like done with this. Get your multi-mod. And the uniques are not that interesting anyway that you get from Pale Council. Yeah.
One good
It's
thing
just-
that comes from this. No, that's what he just said. Yeah, it's in Putrid Cloister.
Yeah.
One good thing that's coming out of this, though, Lily Roth will now be able to come into your hideout to sell you gems. That's amazing. Now, can we get Lonnie to like break down currencies too, please?
That'd be. I mean, so far the best NPC to ever exist inside of your hideout was Tane, because you could just control click him and you could directly sell.
Absolutely.
Those.
It was
Right.
nice with the last to die or whatever her name was from this league, because you could do the same. And you didn't have to find Tane. You could do it straight off the bat.
Yep.
Like,
I didn't realize
the
that
last
was
die was just there was another missed opportunity because they did not really include that character. You saw that character one time in Act 1, and then you would just add them to your hideout, and whenever you found a green item, you would like briefly talk to that person, and then you would be done. Right? There was no reason to talk to that character ever again. No interaction whatsoever.
Kat, I
was
think
kind of
you're
just-
muted.
Yeah, I fixed it already. I noticed. I just wonder how long it's been going on. But probably not that long, right? I hope not. Anyway, hopefully not. Yeah, gem vendor in the hideout. That's gonna be great. Is what I said.
From level 1. That's what I want. That.
all
No,
the
you only
gems.
meet Lily Roth and
No, from
And-
level 1.
yeah,
Here's-
on new
here's what I
characters, but
want.
not on the first character in the league.
No.
Yeah, but that's what you want.
Here's what I want. I want the first time your account ever kills Katava 10 to unlock the ability to get her in the hideout the same way you do with Scion, so that new players don't get flooded with every gem, because that's what they're concerned about. But the rest of us can build whatever we want from whatever level we want, because that's the whole point of the entire goddamn game. Stop limiting my gems by class. That's stupid. You're dumb.
I
and
mean, that
don't
only
want it.
really exists on the first character of the league, anyway. I think there's
Yes,
rhyme and
sure.
reason to that
And
being
then,
a
and then for
restriction.
the rest of the league, there's this annoying inconvenience of, God damn it, I forgot to buy this support gem. I will change characters over to my other character, load into town and not my hideout because I have to look at everyone's MTXs. Then,
Yeah, but that's
then
an
go over there and
annoyance
buy
because-
that level 1 gem from the vendor. Then go to my stash, put it in my stash, log out, log back into my other character who's now in the wrong town because I was in a zone that was in the weird place. Pick that up, then go back out to my questing.
Absolutely true.
Please
I
stop.
hate it.
Please,
Oh my
just
God,
let
I
me
forgot
buy
a
my
gem,
gems.
F that.
Yeah, I just want to buy my gems, man. I just want to make weird shit on characters that don't make sense, alright?
Or level a Marauder with spells. I don't know. Like, maybe you want to
Yeah.
level with freaking Armageddon Brand Chieftain and not have to make another character first. Right? Get that Ignite Proliferation in at level 38 instead of in Act 6. Would be cool.
Sorry, what did you say? I'm trying too many things at the same time.
I said that it would be nice if you could level your Marauder, your Chieftain, with Ignite Proliferation instead of waiting until Act 6.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, there are some things where the strict restrictions are really too restricting. I do not like a lot of things. Like, Scion is supposed to be the jack of all trades. Yeah, yet Scion doesn't get Smoke Mine, and Scion doesn't get Clarity in Act 1. So it's like, okay.
Which
Templar doesn't get crit gems, even though he has a whole
He's a
half
crit class.
ascendancy. devoted to crit.
Literally the best critical ascendancy that we have.
Next
No
to
crit
Assassin.
gems.
Yeah, no
Assassin's
crit gems.
Assassin is third at best. Both Occultist
got
and
all the
Inquisitor are better for crits than Assassin is.
Occultist also is pretty good with like power charge and shit, but yeah, I mean,
True. Yeah, she does have power charge scaling.
yeah.
Does it
Like
bother
Assassin
you?
gets a lot of cool shit though.
I don't think it's better than Inquisitor though.
Not at all. I don't think so.
And Assassin's over in the corner crying.
Assassin is at best the third best crit class.
Yeah, the joke about Assassin is it's both squishy and they nerfed a lot of the real cool things about Assassin, like
It's
crit
both
bills
squishy
with
and
poison.
luckily it does no damage.
thing.
It's not the best crit class, and it's also not the poison class anymore since they took away all the special
Yeah,
poison
that's
power.
even this joke, right? People play like Raider and shit. It's or like Occultist, Poison Cock.
Assassin just needs a new class identity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
and why
Trickster-
doesn't Marauder get a movement skill from the breaking the eggs? And then if you buy one, you can't even use it because you don't have the attributes for it. And you can't buy a necklace because she doesn't sell them yet at that point.
Plus, they cost the transmute.
which you have to find?
Which you'd have to find, yeah. But regardless of the transmute, it's you can't even use it.
Kind of annoying. Early game balance kind of outdated at this point, I think.
This is minor gripes, but you know, it can.
I have another one.
It is annoying.
I have another one of those minor gripes. That I don't think it bothers anyone other than me, but like Prophecy leaving the game makes it so that silver coins, itemized prophecies, and pale council fragments will be deleted from inventory and stash completely. And I just wonder, is that necessary? Like, we have so many like legacy things that don't have a use in permanent league, like league stones from Legacy League, literally
Net.
legacy things, nets from
Nets,
Bestiary League,
yeah.
and all kind inscribed ultimatums from Ultimatum, all kinds of stuff that you can't use that are just like goodies to look at, like memorables, you know, memory pieces. That, and I just feel it like maybe there's just too many of them, and they calculated how much strain it would put on their budget for a database and stuff like that, and how much they could free up if they just delete everything. But it just feels like unnecessary to delete those things. I like things to stay around. Like Parandus coins most recently weren't deleted from the game, right? They just don't drop anymore, and there's no use for them, but you can still have them.
Oh, you can sell
True.
them. That's
Yeah.
a lot of wisdom scrolls, man.
Didn't they stop that though? Didn't they change that a couple of weeks ago?
Oh,
That-
no.
that-
I don't know whether
Oh,
they changed
man.
it for Parandus coins, but they definitely made it so that newer current, like the Kalgoran currency, when that was still itemized, you couldn't vendor, it wouldn't vendor for
Huh.
anything.
I could have swore Parandus coins, they changed it a couple of leagues ago to that it doesn't sell for scraps anymore.
I think probably because Lighty abused that. I remember that.
God damn lady. It's all lady's fault.
Yeah.
I think they
Ban
could-
lady.
Yeah, I agree. Give other people a chance in Gauntlets. Yeah, but maybe if they just removed all the bot accounts, they would have no database issues. That's quite a much.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying, if I could log on to the website and like press a button to delete every remove only tab I have on standard, I would do that. I'm happy to. I'll do my share of freeing up the database.
So much work.
I have like 80 tabs every league. Usually in 2 or 3 leagues. Like I'll do softcore and I might do like a solo self-found thing, and maybe I'll play hardcore for like a week or two. And I'm just accumulating tabs everywhere, and I just tick the button to hide them all because I'm not doing that shit.
I go
I'm not
through
gonna
and
like that.
I consolidate divinations, currency, maybe fragments if I don't have a shit ton of them. And I think that's it.
I do my currency tab only, but when I say my tab, I mean I pick up chaos and exalts. And like maybe like divines and stuff like that.
I like doing
That's
divinations
it.
because you complete sets. And sometimes you'll complete a set where you're like, oh, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Even if it's not very useful, it might be cool to see the outcome of whatever you get.
And then you never use it because it's standard.
Yeah. Exactly.
No,
but it's cool to see the outcome. It's just cool. Yeah.
I am collecting the high raw currency because I want to buy some like legacy gear. Not legacy gear, that's not the word. Alt art stuff.
Alt arts?
That's the word.
Me too. I said the same thing the other day. I sold all my alt arts that I had, and I regret it. I really want them back, but the amount of currency I'd have to spend to get them back is now ridiculous. And especially compared to what I sold them for.
What did you have?
Oh my goodness. I had a alt art Fairgraves helm, alt art Stormcloud. I had 2 alt art Heat Shivers, which, by the way, are now going for about 2 mirrors a piece.
Yep.
I had alt art Gold Rims, the quant stacking boots.
Yep. Gold worms.
Gold worms, yeah. Alt art Combs sign. What else did I have? Alt art Nagamu Tiki. Most people don't really care about the jewelry. It's more about the actual things you could see. There's a couple others that I had too, but those were the big ticket memorable things that I had. One cool thing is I can still go on the website and go under events and seasons and say, look, I had these at one point. I did. But yeah, I truly regret selling them. I wish I would have never done it, but it is what it is, I guess.
It's crazy though. I mean, the player base was so small back then, and there was so few of these rewards handed out for the. I believe they were for league challenges or for race seasons mostly.
They were race seasons, yeah. You got points as you went through each of the small type races. I really miss those small races, man. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's sad that most people don't get to experience them anymore. I mean, no one gets to experience them anymore, but some people will never get to experience them.
Yeah.
Can you
like a 1 hour headhunter race or 2 hour headhunter race just for people that never had a headhunter to get in and be able to experience what it's like to like get the headhunter buffs, even at early levels, right? Like nobody can level with a headhunter, but
it feels so much different, like to play through the acts with the headhunter buffs. And also, I think whenever they did the event, they added like 20 rares to each zone or something like that.
It was like crazy. A rare in every pack or something.
Yeah, one rare in every pack, and every natural rare had a mirrored rare. So every leveling zone had like 20 extra rares total.
Yeah, and the idea would just be to go crazy, and everyone does it. So that's awesome. It could be so easy to put together a couple cool events that are easy to balance, right? Like we're talking about Headhunter after all. But stuff that just works.
I mean, they have so many events from the past that just work. Like they would have to do very little work to just bring them back, I believe.
Yeah. And like Chris even said in like an interview that all they really need to do is like, quote unquote, something like flip a switch and they could turn these, leagues and seasons on.
I get their sentiment.
Blamped races?
This is an example from League of Legends, right? Maybe some people know this. I used to play that game, and there was this game mode called Earth where everything is just turned to the max, right? And you have like 80% CDR or something, so all the abilities, you would have endless mana, you wouldn't have to care about that, just spam. It was just like hilarious, right? Everything was broken, and some things were more broken than other things, but you could just go and have fun, right? And that would enable that for like a week, and people would get burned out. Of course you would have fun, right? But then at the end of that, you'd be like, playing the normal game kind of feels different now. And to a degree, I can understand that they don't want to go too crazy on those events, because then that event ends and you go back to regular PoE and you're like, oh, so Marauder is slow.
But that's why you do them as like an hour or two events, like Endless Delve, or not Endless Delve, Endless Ledge, or Descent Champions, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, I agree that the short
mayhem events, right?
The short events would definitely be a lot less of a problem causing burnout for the league. But it may, and that's what I said earlier, just again in detail, it may just cause people like myself. I'm pretty sure if they did race seasons more frequently, I would only be playing the race seasons instead of the 3-month league. Because I personally don't care about the 3-month league. I just play them for lack of races. Or at least that's why I started. I mean, obviously I, found some things that I like about that. But in general, when I started playing PoE, I was not looking for something that would be a long-term commitment over several weeks or months even every league, but I was just looking for something where I could jump in and have a couple of hours fun and then go out and come back and, at any time and then start a new run, right? So that's why I really like originally League of Legends when I still played that and stopped for reasons. And that's why I really liked race seasons when I got into PoE, because I really was like, hey, this is great. This is something isolated. You can play a run like 45 minutes, whether it goes good or bad, doesn't matter, because everything, like, it doesn't matter beyond that, right? Obviously you want to perform better rather than worse. But in the next event, it doesn't matter how you did in the previous one. But in my 3-month league, every day impacts how I do overall in the league, right? I mean, to some degree, yeah, there's the race season progress, but I'm just granting.
They wouldn't do it at the start, though. It would be like mid to end, like mid league, and they wouldn't go for the whole 3 months, right? We would have like an event calendar, kind of like we had in December, but they were short races. I would like to see that return, even though they said that it probably won't.
Make sure to post it on Reddit so that they actually read it.
I just posted my first post ever on Reddit, actually.
Wow.
The one with your mirror drop from the Voided League.
No, I didn't post the drop itself. Someone else did.
You don't post stuff like that yourself. That's frowned upon, that self-promotion.
I posted you doing the double chromatic Ziggy D recipe. Mirroring.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was well received. It got like 500 upvotes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like 22,000 views, so that's pretty cool.
Farming that karma. Pretty dope, actually.
Yes, everyone listening, I dropped a mirror in Endless Delirium League. A voided event.
Yeah, kind of. Congrats again.
I don't think it does feel bad. I think it worked out perfectly.
I mean, to me, all leagues are voided. It's just that some of them are only voided after a week, and some of them are voided after 3 months. So that doesn't. Whatever.
Right. And I play HCSSF like primarily now. So like, what am I going to do with a mirror, even if it drops in league? Am I going to mirror a ring? Or
a ring is the only thing I can think of, yeah.
Maybe a weapon if I'm dual wielding, but let's be honest, who dual wields these days, right?
Mirror a godlike tier 16
without
map.
wearing a Paraxia. Anyway, if you dual wielding, one of them is a Paraxia or a Savior.
I mean, it's unique.
True. Yeah, but that's, you can't mirror that.
You don't mirror that. Ring, you mirror a ring. That's it.
I think given the circumstances, it worked out perfectly. And now I have a cool story about it.
Yep.
Instead of just, I dropped a mirror.
And tons of Reddit karma. Fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I just noticed we've been going for above our time, which is great because we have to catch up. There's a lot of content that we didn't have for the past 2 months. But I don't either want to exhaust you nor our audience. And I think we've pretty much covered all the topics that we wanted to talk about. And before it goes into aimless rambling, which I'm not, I'm definitely someone who tends to do that. As I noticed on my last speaking.
Never seen it.
Before we, I think we should end things on a good note. When everyone's still having fun, right? Although I'm sure the audience could.
I, for one, disagree. And I'm highly upset
specifically
that we should end it on a high note when everyone's having fun.
All right. Okay. So we'll go on until everyone's ears bleed.
Well, no, but that was me, being upset and disagreeing.
Oh, okay.
I'm just done
Like
now.
the politeness
It's done
of your
now.
upset.
You like that? It was good. Right?
Yeah, maybe you could tell the people on the stream chat here and in the audience at home at the radio receivers where to find you being upset about all kinds of things and listen to
Find
more.
me at twitch.tv.deedledo. That's DEEDLEDO. I stream every day. Times may vary slightly. My schedule shifts from hour to hour sometimes, but I stream every day. Don't really have anything else like a Twitter or a YouTube that I really keep up on. I do have a YouTube, but we post there semi-regularly. But yeah, you can come by, hang out on stream. We have a very helpful, very fun group of people that come and hang out with us day after day. And yeah, we'd be happy to have you there.
You might find
And
me
you can
there
find
as
me
well.
at
Exactly.
Yeah,
Check
true.
out Art as well. Where can we find you?
twitch.tv/ArtCrusader. My community is definitely funnier than me because I'm German, but that's all the fun in it. Streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Extra streams on Discord happen more occasionally recently. Gonna try and keep that up, so love to see some of you there.
And hardcore starting next week.
Hardcore, let's go.
Right. Balor, you want to say anything about your exploits in the League of Legends?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing until we get a league announcement, and then we're back to PoE. But twitch.tv/BalorMage. You'll see me failing to get out of bronze in League of Legends because I'm still relatively new to MOBAs entirely and trash at them. But I'm having a ball. I guess tons of fun.
Yeah.
I'm just really bad.
I'm still debating whether I'm also
Just really bad.
still debating whether I'm also going to play a little bit of League before the next league, before the next PoE league. But yeah, maybe I'll find some time.
I'm determined to get into silver before the league announcement comes, and I have to move back to PoE time then, right? Like that's hype. I got to do some league start practice, all that sort of stuff. So before that happens, I need to hit silver.
All right, best of luck with that. Once again, thanks for coming on Deedle and ArtCrusader, and of course Balor as always. Guys in the audience,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was a enriching experience.
It was a blast.
That's the word I was looking for. People in the audience, thanks for hanging out. Make sure to follow these amazing broadcasters, check out their content, and we're going to be announcing more and more Fated Connections episodes as the hype for the next league ramps up again. We got the countdown timer, which is I think 12 days from now. I think I need to just open the game and it's going to show.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
This is going to be the countdown timer in-game on the login screen, so there can be nothing wrong. It's a first-hand source. Is it going to open? It's going to open on the wrong screen. All right. Oh no! Wait. That's not how it's supposed to be. Okay, guys. Then it's actually on the website, right?
Pro podcaster, by the way.
Yeah, very well prepared. 12 days, 5 hours, and 37 minutes from the end of this live broadcast. Once again, we'll be announcing more. There's going to be more Fated Connections, just as many as there were last year. I think we did a shit ton of episodes. I think we did almost 50 episodes last year. No, not 50, but definitely
50?
more than bi-weekly. I think 40.
Insane.
I don't know. I had a
52 weeks
year
in
summary.
a year. So if you did them bi-weekly, then it would be
Yeah, we did
Matt?
some more than bi-weekly, but some also
Oh.
longer. There was like, I don't know, I had the figures up a couple days ago. Anyway, we can talk about that all in the after show. These podcasts are live here on twitch.tv/CatmasterOP, and you can catch them live as soon as possible if you're here, but they'll be up on YouTube, on Spotify, on all the podcast platforms within 24 hours of the live broadcast, if I'm not slacking. And I'm happy for any feedback. If you guys want to give constructive input, if you want to request people that you want to see in the future on this broadcast, or if you want to just express your contempt over the extreme takes that these elitist broadcasters have, then feel free. Other than that, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
So, yeah.